19. Maro looking to match WMChi, and as Rich correctly said, WMChi, you know, he's very impulsive, very volatile. He'll have good days, he'll have bad days. If he's on top form today, I think M2KC is going to run away with this one, but Maro has been a legendary mage throughout the European scene for many years now. He's going to try meet him mano v mano.
I mean, just looking at these two compositions going head-to-head, it seems like Wildcard Gaming, there's a lot of opening here for M2KC. Looney on that Mistweaver Monk, he's going to be really vulnerable. Of course, Maro, without the backup of a Rogue and a Paladin of his own, it's going to be difficult, especially if Rosties and WMChi are just shutting him down, training him, keeping him in the kidney shot. It's really going to be up to Blizzo to disrupt some of these goes and try to keep that consistent pressure rolling onto WMChi.
Yeah, certainly one of the big talking points for us this year has been who have been the best mages, Europe, North America, in the world. And one of the things that you've got to say for Maro is he's been holding his own in that conversation without having a Rogue on his roster. And Rogues do make it a lot easier for the Mage. Big opener here. WMChi already forced into the ice block. This is certainly against the expectation. Wildcard Gaming with a huge lead.
Yeah, combustion from Maro, Avatar from Blizzo, massive damage. They were able to force out that first ice block from WMChi. Rubcub with the Avenging Crusader. They're looking to get aggressive, but Looney, he's just positioned in a way where it's difficult right now for WMChi to really get crowd control. He's looking for the Ring of Frost, but he can't find it. Great positioning from Looney. Still good consistent damage from WMChi, from Roasty. Maro getting a little bit low, but without crowd control onto Looney, he's going to be able to easily keep Maro alive. Maro now with the Temporal Shield, he lands the full Polymorph onto Rubcub, and now it's WMChi on the back foot.
Yeah, suddenly, I mean, for M2KC, they've been running at Druids, running at Paladins and Shamans, all three of those healers the entire season. Looney brings out the Monk, and he can just max range. He can avoid Rubcub and those Hammer of Justices. He's just sitting in the back line, keeping his team stable, and because of that, so far, they've had the better of all offense. You can see Rubcub has used a lot of his healing modifiers. He's not got his Avenging Crusader for quite a while here, meaning that the next Polymorph, he's not going to be able to recover from it too easily. If they can land that, if Maro can push in, get that Polymorph, WMChi could be in a lot of trouble. He's playing fire. He has no ice blocks, Sven.
Ooh, nice double Dragon's Breath, Ring of Frost. Nicely done, but Rubcub gets the ultimate sacrifice, denying that crowd control. Nicely done by Rubcub, and now it's Looney in a Polymorph. Maro's going to have to play defensive in this situation. Temporal Shield rolling. Looney with no life. Cocoon doesn't really have too many catch-up mechanics. Now into a Hammer of Justice. Still, Blizzo keeping up the damage consistently onto Maro in this game. And for Wildcard Gaming, this game is looking pretty good. Maro, he still has his ice block. Pressure seems in favor. The one thing I'm noticing M2KC has on their side is the fact that Rubcub's mana is doing a little bit better, and I feel like that trend will continue as the game goes on.
Yeah, it's certainly true. Rubcub on the Paladin does such a great job. You know, he plays for that late game as well as all the aggression that this team brings. So it really has been a good balance for M2KC. One of the many reasons that they are the #1 seed here, representing North America at the summer finals. Full fear now. Blizzo looking for the kill. Forces the Divine Shield up. Blessing Protection. And they get the kill nonetheless. M2KC dropped out in game 1.
For the Mew Kitty Cats, it should be their tournament to throw. Are they just going to get knocked down in the first round? Wildcard game and trying to get themselves on match point.
Yeah, and speaking with Maro, I mean, we saw him play a lot of Frost Mage in the AWC, but playing Fire Mage is something he does a lot on ladder, and he said this composition M2KC is running, the Fire Mage, Assassination Rogue, Holy Paladin, is something he sort of specializes in and plays a lot. So if any player could sort of come up with an answer, I feel like Maro is definitely in a good position to do so. We'll have to see what Wildcard Gaming can get done in game number 2. The effective crowd control on Rubcub last game was really crucial for their team to actually have so much pressure. Right now, you can see M2KC, they're going to be striking first. Hammer of Justice on Looney, but unfortunately, WMChi not able to find the Polymorph or preemptive Life Cocoon on that first kidney shot, and Maro's going to be completely fine.
Yeah, Looney just had stellar positioning once again. He was over by the side pillar. Meanwhile, WMChi was on the central tomb, so even if he double blinked there, probably wouldn't have actually got the distance in time to actually connect to Looney, and even if he had, Blizzo would have been all over him. So once again, Wildcard Gaming, Looney in particular with fantastic positioning in the early stages of this one. Now full fear, Blessing Protection comes in. Can they land the Polymorph? No. Good Shadow Step, kidney shot. Now Roasty's looking to reverse with the Vendetta.
Yeah, big damage on Maro. Rubcub getting aggressive too with the Avenging Crusader. Maro dipping low. Looney, though, with the Thunder Focus T, massive heals. Incoming War Banner also dropped down there by Blizzo to deny any crowd control. Maro's kind of struggling right now to get the polymorphs we saw in game number 1. Rubcub's had good position. This pillar, this tomb in the center, is really effective for RMPal, but a Dragon's Breath comes in. Unfortunately, Maro not able to find the Polymorph. Blizzo still all over Jamili, causing massive consistent pressure. Now Roasties reconnecting to his target. M2KC, both mages really in this game are getting shut down quite a bit. We really haven't seen too many polymorphs.
Yeah, certainly haven't. I mean, I think both teams have kind of taken it a little bit slower here. RMPal in particular, he's not really playing too aggressively. He's just line of sighting Maro, as you say, allowing Roasties to kind of stay all over him, deny polymorphs. And I actually think that plays into M2KC's hands. They do have the mana lead right now. They seem to have the pressure lead as well, looking potentially to force the ice block. Instead, Rallying Cry from Blizzo enables the Life Cocoon to come out before the Quarter Eyes. Very nicely done. Good defensive play. Now full count spur over on RMPal. They're trying to get damage on Jamili, but once again, fantastic positioning all over the tomb. RMPal denying any polymorphs to follow that one up, and M2KC will survive.
Yeah, this is normally not how we see M2KC really play. They're playing very defensive right now. Jamili realized he kind of got baited in the last game, so instead of that, he's just going to allow Roasties to do as much work as possible. Now pushing in, potentially looking for the crowd control. There it is, Hammer of Justice. Unfortunately, gets polymorphed. Nicely done there by Maro. It actually might have been Blizzo with the Spell Reflect, but ultimately Jamili not able to find the crowd control. Double Dragon's Breath comes in. Is he going to get the Ring of Frost? Maro could be in some trouble, but he gets denied. The interrupts from Maro and Blizzo have been on point. They are just shutting down Jamili every step of the way. Ultimate Sacrifice rolls in from RMPal. Jamili will survive, but decent pressure here for M2KC on Maro.
I really like that Ultimate Sacrifice from RMPal. It's a 2-minute cooldown as opposed to Ice Block, which is 4 or 5 minutes, so it's much more efficient of a trade. Now, if they do, get another big crowd control chain with the next combustion, Jamili could Ice Block it, and then Ultimate Sacrifice will rotate back up. So that's what we're looking at. Full polymorph onto RMPal. Big pressure on Jamili. He's kiting away, though. He's been holding on to those shimmers. Still forced into the Ice Block, though. Massive damage from Wildcard Gaming. And I mean, Wildcard Gaming, we talked to Method Black. 3 of the members on that team were saying that these guys were not even competition for this one. They were super demoralized, but Swapsy was on who's like, you know what? The raw talent on this roster, you can never quite count them out. And I mean, in this one, they've just been crushing Jamili. So much offense. It's so scary. I mean, RMPal, he's even starting to fall behind on mana now as well.
I think counting out Wildcard Gaming in any tournament is just completely foolish with how, like you said, raw talented these players really are. Maro, Blizzo, Looney, as well as Zeepai on the bench right now. These guys are phenomenal roster. M2KC, they're struggling. They're behind in this match, but there's still hope. Looney's mana isn't doing great. Full Hammer of Justice lands. Jamili looking for a polymorph. Can he find the Ring of Frost? Unfortunately denied, and you could tell Wildcard Gaming, they had a game plan. They're playing very well defensively, offensively as well, and M2KC, they just haven't found the opening we normally see from this team. Finally, a full polymorph lands. Looney, though, I think he actually got the preemptive life cocoon. No, he didn't, but there's just not that much damage. Maro's going to be fine. He pops his temporal shield. That should top him off. And right now, Wildcard Gaming, they're just in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I mean, Rich kind of alluded to it. There's Warriors, and then there's Blizzo, and Jamili was the one. He basically said he feared Blizzo above anyone else, and Blizzo's just been all over him. He hasn't been able to get aggressive. They just forced the Divine Shield out. There are very little defensive cooldowns left for M2KC. We're approaching dampening, but Jamili might not make it. The Ultimate Sacrifice comes out in the nick of time. It was so close to being 2-0 in favor of Wildcard Gaming, but now they truly have nothing left. Maro starts the Ice Block. They are going to force out that Ice Block. It's going to come down to a cutthroat finish.
Yeah, really nicely done by M2KC. Jamili surviving on 5% health. I still think he has his Cauterize available, so that cheap death effect for Jamili is still going to be active. But RMPal with no cooldowns, he's really going to struggle. Polymorph lands on Looney. Maro gets interrupted. Roasty all over him. This is danger time for both these teams. Full kidney shot lands on Maro. Jamili's still getting low. Blizzo chopping him up. He's caught into a leg sweep, and the Cauterize is going to do nothing. A passive game. I just feel like the consistent damage Blizzo is able to put out is just really overwhelming RMPal.
Yeah, I mean, I think the curveball is a perfect way of describing it. Basically, they've thrown the kitty cat to curveball, and Jamili's still in the corner playing with that ball. He needs to get his head in the game here for Game 3 as we go up against Wildcard Gaming. I really think the thing is offense. Like last game, we saw them play a very defensive game, and it didn't seem to work out. In fact, for me, it was slightly worse than Game 1. So I think if they go in, get very, very aggressive here, get the crowd control early on to Looney, potentially even attacking Blizzo could be an option. Attacking Looney, they could swap it up a lot here in this one. Blizzo, we've talked about it in the backstage, Arms Warrior is definitely a little bit scary, and RubCub recognizes that. He's playing very aggressively with his cooldowns, already using out the Divine Shield, the Ultimate Sacrifice. He wants to enable Jamili to get aggressive, get those crowd controls over onto Looney, because they have Force 2 trinkets, they have the Vendetta available. I think they're going to go for a swap either onto Blizzard or Looney.
Yeah, but RubCub, he's already burned through so much. He does have his Avenging Crusader. That is the last sort of lifeline for M2KC. Jamili, of course, with that Ice Block, but just pressure in favor of Wildcard Gaming once again. Morrow trinkets out of the Kidney Shot. Full Hammer of Justice on Looney. M2KC, can they get the crowd control that they need? Smoke Bomb drops out to protect Jamili from Morrow's damage. That is enough to keep him alive right now. Mana still in favor of Looney and Wildcard Gaming. Finally, some decent control coming in, but for M2KC, we really want to see them get the crowd control on Looney. Start getting those consistent setups. Right now, no one on Wildcard Gaming has a trinket, and this is the moment where they need to strike with a full Kidney Shot on Morrow, full Polymorph on Looney. And if they can get that done, they can get the Ice Block from Morrow.
Yeah, there was actually a bit of a miscommunication on M2KC there, and you can see it because we have this new UI element in the center. You can follow the target, see their buffs, debuffs. Morrow is actually able to dispel RubCub's Blessing of Protection and remove the Vendetta from Roasties almost immediately, completely shutting down one of their biggest offensive cooldowns, quite honestly. M2KC all over the place in this game. RubCub now caught up in crowd control, no breakers available, full Stormbolt. Jamili, are you going to have to use the Ice Block? It looks likely. There it is, the massive defensive cooldown. Offensives down, defensives down. M2KC struggling here in game 3.
This is match point. Wildcard Gaming 2-0 up in this series. They win this game, and it's looking like they might. I mean, right now, Morrow, he's got the combustion rolling back up. Blizzo has a lot of damage available with that Avatar as well. Jamili, no lifelines. RubCub, no defensive cooldowns. 13 seconds left on the Ultimate Sacrifice. They have to hold on. Interrupt on Morrow. Jamili trying to get a control of the game right now. Spamming out some polymorphs on Blizzo, but Blizzo rolls in. Massive damage incoming. Dragon's Breath denies it a little bit, but Jamili just holding on by a thread. He's got the Cauterize. Is it going to be able to keep him alive? He's running. He's trying to hide, but the Stormbolt on RubCub denies any heals. Wildcard Gaming, complete dominant.
Game 1, they're bringing out Smexin on the Warrior. Obviously, Jamili feeling the brutal side of Blizzo in the first series. Smexin looking to do a repeat here against a different flavor of the Rogue Mage on the side of Diabolus. I'm not 100% convinced, honestly. I love how good Chun-Li is, quite frankly, for the Gosu crew. I think he's been instrumental to their success all year. Smexin and Thugonomics have some big weights on their shoulders if they are to pull through.
Yeah, so when we look at this matchup, in the past, it's been a story of Rogue Mage Druid survive until dampening, and the Warlock just kind of falls over. So for the Gosu crew, they need to adapt. They need to play aggressive. Every time Kidney Shot is down for Nixie, that's when we need to see Gorecki moving in, getting crowd control, trying to get some damage rolling, and I feel like it's going to be up to the Gosu crew to really push the pace of this match, because if they just kind of sit back, Diabolus is going to be winning in the late game almost certainly.
Yeah, definitely on one thing on Diabolus, I've been watching their practice very closely, because this is one of those teams that everyone constantly underestimates. No one ever expects anything from Diabolus, and yet they're defending BlizzCon champions from 2017, or well, of course, not defending now, but a former BlizzCon champion. They also came second at the Spring Finals. So this is a team with a strong track record of success, despite that low estimated kind of expectation on them. So you've really got to watch them and see how they play. Alec is a very methodical way to his practice. He's always looking to take the most away from losses, and he's the sort of person that you trust to have a good strategy here. And so far, Gorecki hasn't been pushing in too much. He's changing that now, though. There's the Rake Stun on Asgraf, Stormbolt on Alec, and they're going to force the first Ice Block. Very lively start.
Yeah, that Sharpened Blade was huge, and keep in mind, that was the Battle Masters from Alec. You can actually see it on the UI now. This new frame is really, really nice. You can see all the buffs, all the debuffs as well, and what buttons they're pressing above their frame. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Kidney Shot now on Thugonomics. He's getting low. Big damage coming in from Diabolus. Bash over onto Gorecki. All three members looking to get really aggressive, and they force the Unending Resolve. This is big. Counter Chaos Bolt coming in. Alec in a prime position to just line of sight. He's going to be completely fine. That was a really good offensive push by Diabolus.
Yeah, both teams really getting good cooldowns there. Bear in mind that the Safeguard trinket that Thugonomics is running is now a 3-minute cooldown. It got nerfed since the summer season, so 2 major 3-minute defensives forced. That was both the Safeguard trinket and the Unending Resolve. Thugonomics an exposed weakness, and because of that, Gorecki's going to feel a lot more cautious when it comes to pushing in. Gorecki pushing in, I think, is one of the big win conditions for Gosu crew. He needs to get crowd control into Asgraf, apply pressure, because otherwise Alec is just going to have no problem at all sitting by this pillar, line of sighting Chaos Balls, and I don't think Smexon's going to solo him through the rest of Druid Pods.
Yeah, we've seen Alec do this. He loves this. Just being at the pillar, you know, basically tanking the melee from the enemy team, just surviving as long as possible, allowing Nixie to get aggressive. Now, Thugonomics, he's in a bit of trouble. There's a War Banner dropped out by Smexon and actually managed to land on that sap. Cheap shot coming in, but that War Banner just getting so much work done. Really nicely timed there by Smexon, freeing up Gorecki from the crowd control, allowing him to land the Iron Bark. And quite honestly, I think Thugonomics is going to be fine, but now it's Alec on the back foot, getting too aggressive. Both ice blocks now down, and Diabolus in a position where they have to start playing really defensive. Askrath could easily just fall. He's speared out in the open. Big Chaos Bolt gets interrupted. Nicely done by Nixie. That would have been the end of Askrath. And now Diabolus in a position where they are playing quite scared.
Yeah, Diabolus, they went for the kind of all-in play there, and Thugonomics honestly was the one that shut it all down. He got a beautiful double coil to initiate, then he locked out the Cyclone as well as that War Banner from Smexon. So the entire Gosu crew protecting Gorecki from crowd control, and as dividends of that, all the mobility was used, and they force out that second crucial ice block. So very nice play from the North American squad. They want to make sure it's not a European show here at the Summer Finals. They seem to have a bit of a lead as Dampening hasn't even kicked in yet. We still got no ice blocks on Alec for about 3 minutes. Askrath, though, beautiful preemptive Iron Block on that stun, denying this push from Gosu crew. Now that Iron Bark's down, though, you can start to look. Dark Souls coming up for Thugonomics. He has a big opening to potentially end the game.
Certainly does. Gorecki's mana around 40%. Askrath does have a lead in that regard. We'll have to see if Gorecki does sit down for a drink. Like we kind of said, for the Gosu crew, it's all about playing aggressive. Right now, Gorecki's positioned very far away, and I think he's going to be able to recover some of his mana via drinking. We'll have to see what Nixie can get done. Thugonomics denying him with a fear. Now Gorecki landing the full rake stun on Nixie, and it's still just Smexon. He's trying to keep the damage rolling on Alec, but if Alec is allowed to just play at the pillar, play defensively, Askrath can heal him up, I think he's ultimately going to survive as long as he can LOS Thugonomics, and it seems like for Diabolus, that is the main strategy. Just try to live. Try not to take any damage from Thugonomics, and if they can do that, I feel like that's the winning strategy.
Yeah, once again, beautiful preemptive Iron Bark from Askrath there. He did a good job recognizing Gorecki went into stealth, able to play through that. And I mean, as we say, it's Gosu crew, oddly enough, they're actually on a bit of a timer here. The Warlock, a lot of his defense is self-healing, and as you can see, we've just approached that dampening ticker. So minus 1% on healing, that's going to keep ranking its way up every 6 seconds, or every 10 seconds, sorry, on the timer. So healing is going to be reduced, and that will hurt the Warlock more than anyone else on the map in this one. So the Gosu crew, they've still got a 1-minute window where Alec doesn't have any of his immunities. They need to keep pushing in. Gorecki needs to be the playmaker since Thugonomics is a lot less mobile. If they can find something, they could potentially win the match. Askrath's mana has evened out. This is still a very close game. Too close to call, I would say, as we approach Dampening.
Yeah, Smoke Bomb drops in. Cheap shot onto Gorecki. Nice setup here by Nixie. There's the full Cyclone. Thugonomics is in a lot of trouble. Mortal Coil comes in, healing him up just a little bit. That Unending Resolve making him very durable in this situation. Alec not able to find too much damage, and Thugonomics should be able to hold on. Gorecki with his Innervate just spamming out inefficient heals. Can he top off Thugonomics? That is the question. Right now, we're very early stages of dampening, around 6%, so it is feasible that the Gosu crew can completely stabilize right now, but at the cost of a little bit of Gorecki's mana. But Askrath, he hasn't been able to sneak away and get any drinks, and now mana for both these druids is relatively even, Adrian.
Yeah, it's honestly quite surprising that Thugonomics is still low here. Potentially, they're trying to bait Diabolus, because if Diabolus crosses the map here, Alex still doesn't have any ice blocks. It's actually Gorecki pushing in. He gets bashed up first. This could be scary. He has able to top off Thugonomics. We see the Hibernate, though. Good War Banner from Smexon is going to deny a lot of that incoming crowd control. Very nicely played. Now they're looking for the counter aggression. Ice block is up in 10 seconds for Alec. If he doesn't make it to that immunity, they will lose game one. Iron Bark Trinket traded out from Askrath should be enough, and he's got both ice blocks available in 20 seconds. If they survive till that at 10% dampening, Askrath can potentially start looking for drinks to regenerate his mana. The elongivity of this game, we've talked about it, Diabolus will be favored as Thugonomics once again is falling behind.
He definitely is. Cheap shot onto Gorecki. Got the preemptive Iron Bark, but now into a full Cyclone. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Alec trying to get some damage rolling. Thugonomics doing everything he can to survive, but if he gets interrupted, and he does, it's going to be a nightmare situation. Gladiator Safeguard procs, that's a little bit of durability there for Thugonomics. At 14% dampening, Gorecki uses the rest of his mana. Kleptomania Spellsteal coming in from Alex. Now Thugonomics is completely naked in this situation, in a kidney shot, and I think he's just going to go down with the cheap shot onto Gorecki. Nicely done. by Diabolus.
Into a false sense of, hey, we can win this matchup, because I really feel like Diabolus 9 times out of 10 will win this. They've been, I said it at the start of the series, these guys have been very clean. They know exactly how to win a match. The only team that's really caused them any troubles whatsoever has been Method Black in those mirrors, and even there, they've been able to take series. So I think Diabolus is a team that can be underestimated very easily. I'm not entirely sure why. We asked the teams and they're like, well, you know, they maybe question individual performances of certain members, but time and time again they show up. And here in game 2, it is a smaller map, which is what the Gosu crew's playing for, but they're going to need a big win here to turn around the series.
Yeah, and they have to play aggressive, because like we saw in the last game, if they just kind of sit around and wait for the game to go to a long period, then they're just going to lose. So for the Gosu crew, it's all about aggression. We have to see Gorecki moving in, getting aggressive, landing crowd control, but look at Thugonomics, it's just so difficult. You're just caught in Frost Mage snares, you're caught into kidney shots. Of course, Nixie on that Assassination Rogue is going to have the really low cooldown interrupt of kick, and he can just really shut down and deny Thugonomics. Thugonomics already trading out his Unending Resolve. That's his major defensive cooldown. 1 minute into the game, Gorecki's into a sap. They're trying to get something rolling here onto Alec. They might be able to force out an Ice Block. No Iron Bark. Alec has to be a little bit careful. He trades out his first Ice Block, but that honestly is a really good trade for the Unending Resolve of Thugonomics.
Yeah, it is a pretty good trade, but they were looking for more there. You could tell by how late he Ice Blocked. He really wanted to get the kill. They were looking at least for Gorecki's Trinket without using the blind, which you can see is still available for Nixie, and Thugonomics is so far behind here. Rallying cry from Smexin. Last line of defense, blind still available. Gorecki does have his Trinket, but doesn't really have too much to deal with it. The Maledict's coming in, as you say, but Alec, once again, he's played aggressive. Ironbark Temporal Shield. This is the bash. This could be the kill still. Unbelievable pressure from Diabolus.
Thugonomics just isn't getting healed. Gorecki needs to do something quick. Finally looking for some heals, but he gets Cyclone by Asgrath. Very nicely done. Asgrath has been on point with these Cyclones, denying the heals. Now Garrote Silence onto Gorecki. Thugonomics is still low. They need more crowd control onto Gorecki, or I think he can top off Thugonomics, and there it is. A huge heal from Gorecki off the back of that Iron Bark. The Gosu crew stabilized, but this is not the position you want to be in. In the early stages of the match, theoretically, this is where their composition has an advantage, and if not, why are you picking it?
Yeah, certainly, this is what they were looking for the win here. And once again, Alec, you know, he did play aggressively. He traded out one of his Ice Blocks, but he still has another one available. And the last game only lasted about 5 or 6 minutes before, you know, Gorecki was already tapped, and he's had a bad start to this one. Already at 50% mana, 2.5 minutes in. Dampening hasn't even started to elapse now. We've got the full bash, Hibernate Sheep combo, perfect Mage Druid synergy, but the fear from Smexin there to deny. Looking for counter pressure. Gorecki unable to find Cyclone once again. Temporal Shield on the Chaos Bolts. Alec, perfect positioning behind the pillar, understanding what he needs to do to win this matchup, and he survives.
Bash on Asgrath. Gorecki now getting aggressive. This is what we wanted to see. Alec behind the pillar. Is it going to be a second Ice Block? Polymorph gets reflected by Smexin, who's using his Whirlwind to get some consistent damage out. Asgrath's still in a great position with no crowd control on him to top off Alec. And good defensive plays here by Diabolus. Thugonomics with his Unending Resolve, rotating up in around 40 seconds. Should be quite safe. There's the cheap shot. Alec looking for a Ring of Frost. Can he find it? No. Gets denied by the Mortal Coil of Thugonomics. Very nicely done. Now Diabolus in a position where Alec used his mobility to move in and get crowd control, was unable to find it, and this is when the Gosu crew need to strike back.
Yeah, certainly they need to find something here. You can see Chaos Bolts coming in. Thugonomics landed a good counter spell over onto Alex. Arcane School, meaning he couldn't blink away, he couldn't polymorph to deny any of that damage, so it was nicely played, but Asgrath at the same time, Iron Bark, he can free heal now. His mana's not looking too bad here as we are 4 minutes in. Alec taking a bit of damage. Gorecki with that Feral Affinity. As we've said time and time again, he is one of the best when it comes to offensive play on the Druid. Certainly nothing that Alec wants to be contending with as he blinks away. Now Gorecki caught up in crowd control. Thugonomics, low Cyclones. Asgrath taking control here for the European squad with triple Cyclones, but Gorecki is all over the game. He's going for the pounce once again over onto Alec, but without the damage to back it up from Thugonomics. Again, he survives, and Diabolus edge closer to that win condition.
Yeah, Gorecki's running behind, or falling behind in terms of mana. There's a kidney shot on the Thugonomics once again, and every time that kidney shot lands, we see the Kleptomania spellsteal from Alec. Thugonomics has no heal over time effects right now. He's completely alone. Cyclone onto Gorecki. Diabolus could easily close out the game. This is the Unending Resolve. Thugonomics trying to keep himself alive. He gets interrupted on the Chaos Bolt, which is basically leaving him to be a sitting duck in midfield. Asgroth getting counter-pressured away. Smexon doing a really good job finally finding some damage for his team, but Diabolus able to deal with it. Alec once again just retreating behind the pillar, really limiting what Thugonomics can do, and it just seems like all pressure right now in favor of Diabolus. Although Alec is low, I expect him to get topped off quite quickly. We really have to see the Gosu crew get a little bit more aggressive in this match.
Yeah, Greki's actually been doing a slightly better job getting Cyclones onto Asgraf, and it's been enabling them to actually get a bit more damage. A beautiful Vortex, though, does deny Smexon on uptime, and that is the worst time it could have happened, because there is crowd control everywhere here. The sap to follow, good coil. Asgraf actually triggers out the coil for aggression here. He trinkets to get the Cyclone over onto Greki. Are they going to land the kill off that? Because once again, it's an aggressive play that could be punished unless they get the kill, which they do, and Diabolus are 2-0 up in the series. I'm more excited for the Cleave prospect. I'm not convinced that any Destruction Warlock should be winning this matchup.
If we see the Gosu crew manage to come out on top here, I think it will surprise all of us, but that's what they need to do to extend this series. Otherwise, we are going to see Alec cruising on through with a 3-0.
It kind of just feels like the Gosu crew winning a matchup is off the back of Diabolus making big mistakes. Like, if Diabolus play a really solid game defensively and Alec doesn't take risks, they just win the matchup. I mean, that's why I just don't understand this pick coming in from the Gosu crew. It really relies on mistakes from your opponent rather than, you know, you necessarily playing super well. But we'll have to see what they can get done in this match. Smexon, once again, he's going to have to create most of the pressure for the match. Thugonomics going to be marching forward, looking to get some damage, looking to get some crowd control rolling. Nixie with a nice vanish, cheap shot, setting up Asgroth for a Cyclone. He gets denied. Nicely done by Thugonomics. Full polymorph now secured. Alec with the Kleptomania spellsteal. Really aggressive opener once again coming in from Diabolus.
Yeah, once again, good start from them, but denied a little bit by the Model Coil. Nicely played by Thugonomics, and I think this is something we need to see from him. Whilst Greki is a very, very aggressive player in this matchup, you know, pushing in, Feral Affinity, getting damage out, either on Asgraf or Alec, either are good targets, to be honest. Thugonomics needs to be the one being a little bit more defensive, you know, save the Infernal as a deny for crowd control, save the Mortal Coils. You know, double Mortal Coil is a great way of denying crowd control. As a Warlock, it's one of the best tools you have, both in terms of defense and offense. And I think if they can do that, then it will enable Greki to play more aggressive. In this game so far, they've done a really nice job. That was a nice little leap there from Asgraf, utilizing the map to the best of his ability. But I mean, so far, Thugonomics hasn't really been under too much pressure. And because of that, Greki's been able to get a good amount of damage out. But look at the way Alec's playing the map. And I mean, Alec's been such an impressive mage for me. He's been so clean, the way that he plays. He's just line of sighting Thugonomics, kiting away from Smexon, utilizing those Frost Mage snares to the top.
Yeah, and one big difference in this match is Smexon, he's going after Asgroth a lot more. Asgroth's Cyclones have been crucial for Diabolus getting so much pressure, and if Smexon can shut that down, it might put them in a prime position. But right now, he's getting controlled, and it is Thugonomics who's in a little bit of trouble into a kidney shot. Gorecki tries to shut down this opportunity with the Iron Bark and does manage to do so. The strategy change coming in from the Gosu crew is allowing Gorecki to push in and get a little bit more crowd control of the zone. It's also allowing Thugonomics to try to at least push in and get some more damage rolling. Smexon has been doing a good job. Now it looks like Asgroth, he's actually going to start playing a little bit more defensive in this matchup, because if left unchecked, he's going to be basically a terror for the team of the Gosu crew. But right now, it's Thugonomics who's in a lot of trouble. Gladiator Safeguard procs, Unending Resolve, overlap, bash onto Gorecki, and Thugonomics is not out of it yet. Alec getting a little bit low. Temporal Shield bounces his health back up, and it's still the Gosu crew on the back foot.
I actually really respect this play from Alec. So Thugonomics, to counter-aggress, he used the Infernals into the Shadow Fury, and Alec, immediately identifying that, played it safe. He went for the Sheep on Thugonomics into the Re-Sheep. Even though he was low on health, they recognized there was unlikely chances for the kill, and now because of that, they still have high ice blocks, high mana. You know, that defense is looking great for them here in Game 3 of Dalaran Suras, and Thugonomics, he's behind, you know, he doesn't have that unending resolve. So the next big push here, which will probably come with the blind from Nixie, could be something that the Gosu crew has to respect. And Gorecki, you know, he's got no room to move. He's not able to get onto Asgraf. Smexon either. This Arms Warrior, we talked about the Arms Warrior being picked into these mages. I think into Jumilia it made a lot of sense. You know, he's playing the Fire Mage, doesn't have access to so many snares, but against the Frost Mage, playing Arms Warrior just looks so difficult for Smexon to get anything done. He hasn't been able to be the kind of breakable force that Blizzo was in first series of the day. Gorecki now trinkets out of blind. Next crowd control chain, he won't have access to that trinket, and Thugonomics is going to be vulnerable.
Well, Smexon, I don't think he's been doing a bad job. The problem is, anytime his team has pressure, Alec can just run and hide. Ascraft can run and hide. And guess what? Thugonomics, he's just waddling to his target. He can't get any casts off, and his ability to really help in a kill situation is negligible. But we do see Alec into a first ice block, and it's off the back of Gorecki and Smexon getting really aggressive. And that's why I just don't like the destruction wall like that much. But Thugonomics still able to hold it down. He is able to survive. Kidney shot on Thugonomics with the smoke bomb. Garrote Silence coming in. Gorecki gets polymorph, but a preemptive Iron Bar. I don't know if that's going to be enough to keep him alive. If they can continue this crowd control chain, it's going to be really scary for the Gosu crew. Full Cyclone coming in from Ascraft onto Gorecki. Thugonomics getting low, and this is looking like it could easily just be a 3-0 series in favor of Diabolus. Garrote Silence. Nixie doing a really good job extending the chain, interrupting Thugonomics. He's holding on by a thread. Mortal Coil keeps him alive, and in a complete miracle, Thugonomics gets topped off. What a close call.
Yeah, Thugonomics did a really good job there. He actually landed Fear into Re-Fear on Ascraft's trinket. If he wasn't able to get those Fears, if there was any interrupt, those Cyclones would have been chained, and that would have been GG for Diabolus. But still, the Gosu crew surviving on a thread. Ascraft used his trinket in that exchange, identifying that. You can see Smexon actually going for damage. This is Chaos Bots coming in on Alec's second ice block. Now, how does he choose to play it? They have aggression in their favor, but now no ice blocks, no trinket on Ascraft. Suddenly, the Gosu crew have a major opening here for quite a while, and Alec is actually caught up in the middle. There's no pillar nearby. He needs to kite away, deny Chaos Bolts, because if these Chaos Bolts start crashing in, we're in dampening. Smexon is uptime. This could be the match.
Well, here's the thing. Thugonomics has been under a lot of pressure, but now I feel like Diabolus, they need to just play it safe. They win if they can just last to the late game, so don't play too aggressive. If Alex is just going to sit in the open, like you said, then Thugonomics is going to be able to tee off on him and get a lot of damage rolling. Alec now behind the pillar. This is the position he really wants to be in this matchup. Just allow Nixie to put out the consistent damage, throw in your instant cast burst, throw in the Kleptomania spellsteal, and just survive as long as you possibly can. And I think Diabolus go back to that strategy. I don't know what the Gosu crew is going to be able to do, but the Gosu crew, they have a big opportunity here. There's no Ice Block or Cold Snap available for another 4 minutes. If there's any moment in the game where they could actually win, it is going to be now, and they have to try to make something happen quick.
Yeah, Gorecki has no mana. He knows that this is the last push. They have the Mortal Coils off of this stun. Double Mortal Coil could be game winning. There it is. The coil comes in, but it was pre-dispelled by Alec, not landing on 2 targets, meaning less healing and less potential here for the Chaos Bolts to come crashing in, though one does land. Very nicely done. Counter spell used onto Alec, meaning that Ascraft can now get some heals. They're actually going for aggression here. This could be a risky play. Ascraft exposes himself, gets caught up in the fear, blink away from Alec. Ascraft trinkets out of the bash, trying to reconnect with his Mage here, who has done a great job.
By Alec.
Beautiful blink preemptively on the Stormbot, and those are the sorts of plays you need to survive.
Yeah, Alec just playing it perfectly. He realized Ascraft was going to be in crowd control. Beautiful heads-up play. Now it's Thugonomics once again. 10% health. Gorecki, nothing left in the tank. And there was a moment in that game where it looked like they
of breaking down exactly why that could happen. We got Method Black, first Method Orange. The gates are now open.
Yeah, Trill will most likely be the main target here for Method Black. Keep in mind, I mean, an Assassination Rogue is really good at shutting down a target, especially a Windwalker Monk. You keep him caught in a kidney shot, you have the extra burst from the Frost Death Knight. It's going to be scary as well. Chaz is going to be able to use the Blessing of Protection as well as the Divine Shield to remove the Touch of Karma. So Trill has to be very careful in this situation. Sidu in early crowd control. Trill already low, landing the triple leg sweep, but he's still low. Trades out the Touch of Karma. Blessing of Protection comes in, and now it's Trill crossing the map. He's trying to hightail it out of there. Back on top of Sidu. Ring of Peace drops down, but Trill's not out of it. We might have to see the Spirit Link Totem come in from Sidu. Ascendance does get popped. Fortifying Brew, that was every single defensive cooldown from Trill in order to survive, and he's still just getting lower and lower.
This is such a great opener from the team of Method Black here. They have all their offensive cooldowns still available. Trill used everything there. This is the only cooldowns left are a Trinket Spirit Link from Sidu here, and the fact that they were that close to killing him that early on, they're instantly put on the back foot here, and I really would like to see the pressure still running on a Trill here.
Yeah, Swapsy, though, he's getting low. Grapple Weapon is going to deny the Death Strikes. Wind Shear over onto Chaz. Swapsy getting low. Method Orange could be claiming first blood here. The Ultimate Sacrifice will shut it down, but there was great pressure here for Method Orange. Another full kidney shot onto Trill. Sidu caught into a blind. He trinkets out. Is there any more follow-up crowd control? He's just bombing heals right now onto Trill in order to keep him alive, but there's no defensives left. He's still getting low. He's not getting topped off. Shadow Step kick coming in from Waz. Trill on the run. He's trying to hightail it out of there. Does he have the Fist of Fury parry? It looks like he is going to stabilize, and now it's Method Orange turn to strike back.
Full Hodge onto C2 here. They're swapping onto the Shaman. This is great choice. Now all 3 members of Method Orange under so much pressure now. Great blind by Mez. Triple blind there. Triple leg sweep. Method Orange turning it around here with lots of bursts coming from Trill. Instantly cap stunned off of that. Hex coming out from C2 onto Chaz. Very well done. Instantly turning the pressure here. Swapsy using that IVF. Swapsy's now out of defensive cooldowns, and this is an opening for Method Orange now.
It certainly is. I mean, Trill and Mez putting out big damage on that Windwalker Death Knight. C2, a little bit of a vulnerable target here. He's trying to escape with that Ghost Wolf. If he can get behind the pillar, it's likely he is going to survive. Waz, around 40% health. He gets topped off. Chaz on that Paladin is actually going to have a mana advantage over C2, and that could play into the favor of Method Black. They can win early game, but then all in on Trill, but it looks like this composition is also just very durable. They've been able to heal through the damage Method Orange has been able to put out. And now it looks like it's time for Waz to get aggressive. Full kidney shot onto C2. Do they have the damage to take him down? He's in Ghost Wolf, and I think he should be able to hold on with that.
Trill and C2 are doing a great job managing these defensive cooldowns. It's very easy to panic when there's a lot of damage going out, but these people are just veterans, so we don't expect to see that. Instantly swapping back to Trill here. Trill in a lot of trouble. Touch of Karma uses there. A bop available from the Paladin. Double blind from Chaz. Beautiful there onto C2 and Mez. Mez shrinking out of that, trying to help his teammate there. Trill, great portal there. Great positioning. Going to dispel that wound poison. Mount. This could be it right here.
There it is. Full kidney shot. Trill behind the pillar. Spirit Link Totem drops down by C2 from downtown. That keeps Trill and Mez alive. Beautiful setup here, and now it's Waz in a lot of trouble. He's caught into a stun. Evasion trades out. The Capacitor Totem from C2 allows him to get a little bit more damage. Rolling Trill now with the Fortifying Brew. Still, it's time for him to survive. Battlemaster Trinket trades out also. Flying Serpent Kick. Trill just trying to kite around, trying to avoid damage. Mez backing him up with the Chains of Ice and the Death Grip onto Waz. Grapple weapon now onto Waz, but still it's C2. He has to play catch up, but there's really not too many tools left for him.
C2 doing a great job stabilizing the team there. Hex coming on to Chaz, sacks it, beautifully done by him. Melee Wings is now gone from Chaz, so Trill and Mez can really get a lot of pressure going here. This is where they look to turn the game around. Kidney shot onto Trill, touch of death available from Trill, still having that trinket. Lots of defensive cooldowns available from Mez as well. I think Method Orange did a great job recovering, and I think they're actually kind of in the lead right now.
Yeah, they're doing a good job. Trill, if he can just hold on a little bit longer, he still has his trinket. Touch of Karma coming up in around 50 seconds. C2 though, with no Spirit Link Totem, there's no emergency heals for his team, whereas for Chaz, he still has the Divine Shield to get out of crowd control. Both teams are relatively healthy. They have both offensive and defensive tools. Now, Trill in a kidney shot, Hammer of Justice on C2. Is this the damage that they need? Trill, he didn't trinket out of it. That could be a big mistake. Diffuse Magic comes in. Triple setup once again from Mez, from Trill. Do they have the leg sweep? Unfortunately, unable to find it, but Waz and Swapsy going to be taking massive damage. This is the Touch of Death. Wazi's going to have to use that feint at the last second, but he's caught into a leg sweep. Big burst damage incoming here for Method Orange, but that feint should easily deny it. And now Method Black, they're looking to get a setup of their own.
Man, I really would have liked to see the cooldowns be used a bit better there. Waz did commit that Vendetta, and Method Orange lived through it. And then Trill also using that Touch of Death without CC on Chaz. And that might cost him here. C2 caught in a swap here. Beautiful Ring of Peace by Trill there, denying the kill attempt here. C2 still in a lot of trouble, pressing that Ascendance. Good kick on a Chaz there. C2 doing everything he can to get away here. Potentially pushing him for the Haymaker, maybe a Hex off that. Hex onto Chaz. Ooh, kicked on it. Melee Wings is up here. This is a lot of trouble for Method Orange. They really need to get out of here and stabilize, because there's no way anything is dying when Chaz has this many cooldowns up.
Yeah, that was C2's Ascendance, and he wasn't able to top off his team. Now getting Grip back into the fight. If he gets caught into a kidney shot, he could easily fall. His Astral Shift buys him a little bit of time, but he's still just so low. All three members of Method Black pushing in. Gladiator Safeguard procs. Can C2 survive? Mez grips Waz away, but with Cloak of Shadow, he's able to reconnect, and Method Black claim game number one.
Do it here. Method Black already going to have one win in their back pocket. Method Orange trying to tie it all up here. 1-1. Will they be able to do it?
All right, the gates are officially open now. Sammy, I'm in Invis right now, looking to position himself around Chaz to potentially get that early polymorph. Sap onto Trill by Waz. Cheap shot onto C2. It looks like Yam will be the target of choice for Method Black here. Blind onto C2. Good bot by him. Kidney shot onto Yam here. Looks like a lot of pressure going on to Yam here. And right now, Method Orange is currently on the back foot, waiting until they get that Hodge opportunity for Yam to get that crowd control so they can start getting pressure out.
Yeah, it's like Jellybeans kind of talked about. For the Frost Mage, it's about playing very defensive. Don't waste those shimmers, especially when you have Delirium on you the entire game. Those shimmers are going to be a really long cooldown. You can't really afford to push in and get much crowd control out. Sam I am right now with the Icy Veins. He's getting aggressive. Chaz caught into a blinding light. Is there any follow-up? There is. There's a full polymorph. Now Swapsy and Waz, they're in a little bit of trouble. There is big damage here for Method Orange.
Yeah, both targets on Method Black are dying here. Both DPS seem to be in trouble here. Yam doing a great job kiting this out, and Trill as well, lining up those multiple double stuns, double blinds. Great polymorph by Yam as well, following that up. Right now, Yam caught into a kidney shot here. Waz and Swapsy stabilizing here, making sure to land those kicks and lock the Mage down, because if they're not landing kicks, things can get out of hand very quickly here, but they're doing a great job shutting it down. And if we look at Chaz right now, he's standing very far away, denying the Hodge from Sidu, because Sidu was constantly inching his way towards him to guarantee that CC. Chaz pushing in, got instantly dispelled on CC. Trill doing a lot of damage to Waz here. Both targets very, very low. Sack used by Chaz there. That's a big cooldown forced.
Yeah, big cooldowns forced out. Both these teams playing a little bit defensive right now. Full kidney shot onto Sam I Am. Both Waz and Swapsy looking to get really aggressive, but Trill on that Windwalker Monk able to back him up with not only the Tiger's Lust, but as well that Ring of Peace. So when Sam I Am is caught into a stun, he can use the Ring of Peace to deny Swapsy and Waz to getting full damage out. Trill now getting big damage with the Fist of Fury, and that's the thing. If they go after Sam I Am, Windwalker Monks have a lot of cleave damage available at their disposal. Luckily for Chaz, the Holy Paladin can deal with that quite well. They have massive heals when their cooldowns are up. Waz getting a little bit low, but still with the feint, with the evasion, with the Cloak of Shadows, he's going to be completely fine.
Beautiful CS by Yam there onto Chaz, forcing Waz defensive here. And it's kind of brutal for Waz to try to chase Yam the entire time, because Trill is just punching into him the entire time. Beautiful double sweep by Trill there, and the in-cap Hodge onto Chaz as well. Very well done by them. Into a blind onto Chaz. Waz in so much trouble having used that cloak. He really wants to hold that evasion. That's the most important cooldown. Counter pressure back onto Yam here, casting crossbows. Full kidney here. Sidu pressing that melee wings. He should be able to top his team up here. Trying to keep the goal going. Beautiful haymaker onto Waz, knocking him out of the line of sight of Chaz. And they're currently in a lot of trouble. Nice kick onto that sheep there. Currently, the cooldowns are counteracting the damage right now.
Yeah, and it looks like Swapsy and Waz, they are going to be able to stabilize. Sam I Am completely out of mana, so he's not going to be able to use those spell steals to remove the Blessing of Freedom if they decide to use it. Sidu tossing out a Blessing of Protection, but now not having that available for Sam I Am. Avenging Wrath gets popped out. What are they going to be able to do? Where's the damage? Where's the crowd control on Chaz? And I'm not actually sure who wins this in the late game. You would think Sam I Am and Trill with the Frostmage Windwalker Monk would have a lot of consistent pressure on Swapsy, onto Waz, but it seems like Method Black, they're able to hold on, and they're actually getting a lot of damage rolling onto Sam.
Yeah, the comp of Method Orange here is heavily reliant on Yam getting those polymorphs onto the healer, but right now Sidu caught to that blind. Yam taking a lot of damage here. Full CS onto Chaz, trying to turn the pressure on Waz here, forcing out that feint. He still has that evasion. Beautiful Hodge by Sidu onto Chaz there, keeping the CC chain rolling. Yam trying to get more sheeps to follow up. Waz haven't used that Vanish defensively. Waz very far from his healer right now. Beautiful Shadow Step getting back to his healer's line. Ray of Frost coming out from Yam. In-cap onto Chaz. Lots of damage here. Evasion's been forced. He's so low. Maldish are flying in right now. Smoke Bomb defensively. Bubble Force from Chaz and the sack. That was every single button from that team.
That was really nicely done by Method Orange. Now suddenly it's Method Black on the back foot. There was no defensive cooldowns left whatsoever. Chaz playing Relentless. He doesn't have the Gladiator's Medallion. He gets locked out. Now this is where we could see Method Orange start really developing some pressure. Sidu should be able to keep his team alive with the Avenging Crusader. What can he get done? We'll have to see. Chaz still in a prime position to avoid crowd control. Keep Swapsy and Waz quite healthy. Sam I Am getting chopped off, but in terms of mana, Method Black, they still have the lead. That was a close call on Waz, trading out basically every defensive cooldown, so he's going to have to play a little bit scared in this situation, but if Method Black can hold on, they can keep up this consistent damage. I could see them winning this game.
Yeah, Waz deciding to swap to Sidu with that full kidney on him, forcing out that human trinket out of Sidu. Sidu's using wings and sack here. It seems like Sidu might be a target of choice later in the game. He's running low on mana, he's running low on cooldowns, and if his teammates aren't there to peel for him, he can't last much longer like this. Sidu still under a lot of pressure. You're stuck in the middle of the map right now. They're finally going back on to Yam here, because if you leave the Mage free casting for too long in a composition like this, especially Yam, your whole team is going to get crowd controlled. Beautiful CS onto Chaz, double leg sweep onto Swapsy and Waz there. Counter pressure, Sidu pushing in for that Hodge off of the in-cap there. Got it full. Pops use wings is out from Chaz here. Lots of crowd control. Full kidney shot on Yam on his veins here. This is their offensive go here. They need to make this count. They need more cooldowns here. And then Method Black potentially forcing the ice block onto Yam here. Sidu trying to do everything he can to keep him alive here, holding that most important cooldown for Yam to keep him aggressive.
Yeah, Sam I Am still has both of his ice blocks. He's got a lot of defensive cooldowns left to work with, but it could be a story of Sidu just going out of mana. That could ultimately be the win condition here for Method Black. Full kidney shot lands. Sam I Am using every man for himself to break that stun. Waz in some trouble. He's got the Cloak of Shadows in the evasion. Is he gonna, or the Vanish, is he gonna be able to get it off? Right now, Ring of Peace knocks him off the side of the edge, and now Chaz not able to actually connect into heals. Beautiful Shadow Step by Waz, getting back in line of sight of Chaz, but the full polymorph lands from Sam I Am. Trill, Storm, Earth, and Fire. Big pressure here onto Waz. He still has the defensive cooldowns he needs to survive, and Chaz with the ultimate sacrifice is keeping him alive, and now it's up to Swapsy and Waz. Keep tunneling down Samayam, keep the aggressive pressure up. Sea-Doo caught into a full blinding light. Sam getting a little bit low. This could easily be the first ice block.
Lots of pressure from Method back. Please, ooh, good block by Yam there. Waz honestly decided to use the kidney shot on Sea-Doo there. I really don't agree with that. I think they really need to tunnel the Mage down now that they forced that ice block out. They need to do everything they can to make sure that this guy has no chance to go aggressive here. Cooldowns have been traded out everywhere. Method Black really with not much left as the wings are up. It's good that the evasion is back for Waz. That's going to mean he's going to play as aggressive as possible because it's basically like a completely safe button versus the Monk. Beautiful double leg sweep from Trill there and the blind from Sea-Doo onto Chaz there. Grip back in on Yam. This is looking really scary right now for Method Black with this if the CC chain keeps rolling.
Waz behind the pillar, playing defensive when he needs to, with great positioning. Sea-Doo, his mana still doing quite poorly. He's in a full kidney or full hammer of justice. Ring of Peace once again, nicely done by Trill, always being able to back up his team with that cooldown. But a kidney shot, Sea-Doo in so much trouble. He's got the Venging Crusader rolling, doesn't really have much mana left, and he's not able to top himself off. The damage from Swapsy and Waz is just so heavy. Sea-Doo finally connecting a big heal. He's able to stabilize just a little bit. You can't leave Samayam alone for too long, though. This is a risky strategy coming in from Method Black.
Vendetta committed from Waz. They are going all in right now on Sea-Doo. He needs to get out of here. Freedom mounted away. Beautifully done by him. Samayam sheeping everything in the entire world. Swaps using that Wraith Walk to get there with no slows. Sea-Doo needs to fake kicks right now. Beautiful Aura Mastery there. Trill's right there to help him. Sea-Doo needs to get out of here immediately. Full kidney on the Sea-Doo. There's so much damage. So much damage from all three people connecting. Maldics are flying in. I don't know how he's going to get out of this one.
I really don't know. I don't think he will. Trying to line of sight, trying to connect the heals. Can he find it? Waz snipes him, and that's going to be 2-0 up for Method Black. And the far in this matchup, Method Orange, they're going to have to try to figure something out. This is a composition we've seen them run before into Cleave setups, and it looked a lot better than what we saw in the last game. But Waz, Swapsy, and Chaz, they're looking bulletproof. I mean, there was moments in the game where Waz looked like he was in a little bit of trouble, but when he's in that situation, he doesn't have defensive cooldowns. He just plays a lot more safe, and you can tell Method Black, they have the practice. They know when they're vulnerable. They know when they can play aggressive, and it's just been working out great for them so far.
Method Black having a strong start to this game with the grip triple disorient from the Death Knight, countered by Trill with the nice double leg sweep there. Sea-Doo still looking for that crowd control on Chaz potentially here. Swapsy under a lot of pressure right now. Yam doing a great job cutting away from this. Polymorph is being casted here. Maldics are being used from the team of Method Black, but they're chasing very far away from Chaz. I think this might cost them here.
Yeah, Samayam in a growth silence. Could this be the ice block? It will be the Gladiator safeguard. Sea-Doo trading out, Blessing of Protection, and Ultimate Sacrifice. So a lot of defensive cooldowns from Method Orange already used, and where's the damage? Swapsy's fine, Waz completely fine, and it's still Samayam in the back foot. Full Repentance lands by Chaz onto Sea-Doo. He's in crowd control. Samayam has to keep himself alive. Is Ice Barrier going to be enough? He has to be very careful right now. Tiger's Lust coming in from Trill. Good backup from Trill in order to keep Sam alive, but this pressure is just unrelenting.
Good hodge by Sea-Doo on the Chaz, trying to turn this around. Beautiful follow-up by Samayam. Swapsy under a lot of pressure with no AMS available here. This is where they need to get cooldowns. Touch of Death used by Trill. Triple blind from Sea-Doo, beautifully done by him. Chaz forced a bubble there and counter blinding triple blind, but they're not getting any pressure with this, and that's a very big cooldown. Yam using that Veins there, that was a great push there, and I think that's actually restabilizing them.
Yeah, it looks like Swapsy will be able to survive, but off the back of Chaz's major crowd control break, he is playing Relentless, so he doesn't have the Gladiator's Medallion to get out of crowd control. If Samayam can land a full Polymorph, they might be able to take Swapsy down on a big burst attempt, but we have yet to see that so far. Samayam spell stealing off the Blessing of Freedom. That's one of the great things about the Frost Mage is the Blessing of Freedom is really going to help him escape that Frost Death Knight, because with the Delirium, with the Heartstop Aura, Samayam is basically a sitting duck. Shimmer is just way too long of a cooldown to really rely on. So those Blessing of Freedoms he can get from Sea-Doo and steal from Chaz are going to be really important. But now, Sam getting bursted down. Temporal Shield is rolling, and that should be enough to keep him alive with a nice double leg sweep coming in from Trill. Method Orange, hold on.
Swapsy had a beautiful steal on that Polymorph there, forcing Sea-Doo to that, and that Spoke Bomb from Waz, but instantly turned around here. Damage coming into Swapsy here. Chaz out of crowd control right now. Beautiful dispel on that Sheep onto Waz. Kidney shot on a Trill. Maybe are they switching targets here? I guess they're going to go on to Trill here. Full rep on a Sea-Doo again. This is actually a lot of trouble for Trill. He might have to be careful here. It looks like they went, full CS from Yam. They're locked out now. Swapsy's still under a lot of pressure. Sea-Doo with that melee wings available right now, potentially pushing in to look for that Hodge onto Chaz here. Swapsy kiting back, realizes the danger he's in right now and trying to restabilize.
Yeah, he's going to be using that pillar to just avoid the damage, and that's the problem for Samayam. At a certain point, they have to push in. If Method Black, every time they're in trouble, they're just able to run away, hide behind the pillar, completely uncontested, then for Method Orange. What really is their win condition? Sam snipes another counterspell. Waz in some trouble. The evasion as well as the feint will keep him alive. Blinding Light, Sea-Doo playing very aggressive. Method Orange looks to have found a little bit of their rhythm in this match. Paralysis on Chaz, the crowd control never ending here for Method Orange. And now at this point, Chaz, he has to play catch up. Waz and Swapsy both low. Does he have the healing? I think he just might with that Avenging Wrath. Big heals incoming for Chaz, and Sam in the meantime forced into that first ice block off the back of a really nice sap by Waz.
Beautiful blind sap from Waz there, forcing out the block from Yam. Swapsy with no defensive cooldowns remaining. I'm kind of scared of that. I think they want to try to all-in Sea-Doo here with the swap. The Garrote Chiefs out there, double legacy from Trill, beautifully done by him. Swapsy Trinket kiting away, nice hodge from Sea-Doo. Sam looking for that follow-up sheep, but he is nowhere near there. And now Sam is kind of stuck in the back here with Waz, and Waz is just full kidney on him. Lots of pressure. Sea-Doo doing a great job there, instantly able to top him up. Melee Wings proc there as well, stabilizing his team, and eventually looking to maybe set up a kill on Waz here, because right now Swapsy and Chaz are just sitting 50 yards away right now, and it's impossible to get setups when they're just playing defensive like that. It seems like when things kind of get bad for Method Black, they really just decide, like, okay, we got to sit back, go to the pillar, and not force things, because there's no need to.
Yeah, I mean, it worked for them in the last game. It's working for them so far in this game. And if you basically put yourself in a situation where you can never die, that's the best spot to be in, really, especially for the Cleave team that just have so much consistent damage. Sam Trill, they're getting low. Sam as well, he has one ice block left. If they force it out, this is going to be disastrous for Method Orange. But Sea-Doo's got a lot of defensive cooldowns he can work with. His mana management has honestly been really good this game. Shadow Step Kip coming in from Waz. It's going to deny some healing, and now they make a swap over onto Sea-Doo. He uses his everyman from self-racial. Full polymorph on Chaz. Method Orange looking to reverse the pressure onto Swapsy, but the Icebound Fortitude should shut that down. I think Method Black is going to be completely fine here, but maybe not. Blinding Light onto Chaz. There's no crowd control break, and Swapsy's not able to get any heals off with that grapple weapon. Really nicely done by Trill and Sam. Ultimate Sacrifice finally lands, and Swapsy survives, but that was a really close call.
That was a very solid push from Method Orange, committing that Icy Veins and that Touch of Death, and Chaz beautifully using the Ultimate Sack and Wings to stabilize the team there, and now the counter pressure back on Yam. Full kidney shot, smoke bomb from Waz. The Vendetta committed, beautiful ring of peace from Trill. They're denying the kill here. Sam in so much trouble. Sea-Doo is stuck in that Repentance. Block has been forced here. DR sap by Waz. Waz is going to go for another sap into maybe a Garrote, into a cheap shot into Kidney. Yam needs to do something immediately.
I mean, he certainly does. Look at his Ice Block cooldown. The Ice Block's not going to be available for another six minutes.
Oh my goodness.
So this is a disaster situation for Method Orange. Sea-Doo trades out his Divine Shield, Ultimate Sacrifice, and Avenging Crusader. That's it. Method Orange has nothing left. It's going to be up to Trill to peel Swapsy and Waz, and if he cannot, Sam dead, 100%. So right now, Method Orange, they need to find something aggressively, or Trill really needs to prepare to be an MVP in this match.
In-cap Hodge come from Method Orange. Here's the push right here. Double Legacy. Looks like Swapsy is the target of choice here. Do they have that disarm to deny the death strikes? It looks like not right now. Beautifully done by Chaz, able to top the team off that. Yam still under so much pressure right now. It seems really hard for them to get back on the right track here, but Trill doing a great job rotting down Swapsy and Waz here. Cooldowns from Sea-Doo, nothing available soon except that one Blessing of Protection. No ice blocks for a long time. Currently, Swapsy is still under a lot of fire. Chaz pushing in for that Sea-Doo, or the CC on Sea-Doo. Yeah, in a lot of trouble here.
He's in so much trouble. Wow. He doesn't have the Temporal Shield. He's caught into a stun.
Beautifully
and
done.
Method Black, they close it out.
Dominant in the spring season, that Mage, Warlock, Druid composition. And I mean, I saw them wargaming backstage. Sometimes it looked really good, sometimes it didn't. It's certainly a matchup that most people consider favored towards the Rogue Mage Druid, but Cloud9, when they play this composition, there's something about them, Jelly.
I think it's just the fact that Channels and Wealthy Man's synergy is so insane that if there's ever a point where they're in trouble, the Warlock spams Fear, the Mage spams Polymorph. There's not really a point where things get really hectic until Dampening, which usually favors the MLD. But in this scenario, I think the Rogue Mage is actually favored in Dampening. I mean, with the Mortal Strike effect, the blind, like big cooldowns like Vendetta and Smoke Bomb, I think it looks pretty scary that Cloud9 picked this in the Team Prismatic.
Yeah, certainly it's going to be very interesting. This will be telling of the series. When Cloud9 won, every single European team tried to kind of match them. They tried to play Mage Lock Druid. You know, Diabolus literally added Warwick to their roster to try emulate what Cloud9 did, but they just couldn't. Cloud9 were standalone the best Mage Lock Druid in the world. Now we're in a bit more of a Rogue Mage Druid meta, so if Cloud9 can still win here, they will truly prove themselves to be the best team, and they have so much damage in the early game. Infernals come crashing in. Acrolor's taking a lot of damage.
I mean, Polymorph on the Wealthy Man to stop the pressure from building up. A full kick on the Channels to a full kidney. Looks like The pressure got reset pretty hard. There's Infernals, but Chen was not really able to cast her. And he still has his Trinket. He's going to hold on to that so he can get deeper into dampening. There's an orb out by Wealthy Man, actually. And Wealthy Man and Chenimals, notice how they're just playing in the open of the map. Generally, when you play a Wizard comp, you stand in the open to force the other team to come out to you, and then you're able to do all your damage and crowd control.
Yeah, certainly this is the thing for the Mage Lock Druid. They want to kind of draw the game out, play in the open spaces, get their damage going. That was the Infernals, and quite honestly, Team Prismatic did such a good job of mitigating a lot of that incoming damage. That's supposed to be such a scary moment. Destruction Warlock, of course, did get, I believe, a 6% overall damage buff as well since the summer season. So certainly that's one of the reasons why we have seen it kind of picking up back into flavor here. Shadow Fury comes in, they're trying to get damage, but Minpoike evades it, able to deny the stun, keep his team stable, and Cubsy doing something that he has been so good at doing, resetting, looking for the drinks. Minpoike will start to fall a little bit behind on mana here, though his team has some counter pressure. Chanimal forced into the Iron Bark.
The big thing I think you want to keep note of is the fact that Cubsy's team has a Warlock, which has a pet. Much easier for him to stop the drink as long as he leaves his Fell Hunter on Minpoike. Minpoike's team, however, in order to get the Cubsy, have to run through a Warlock and a Mage in order to stop drinks. So I think if Cubsy goes for drinks early and consistently throughout the game, they should be able to pull ahead in mana.
So do you think the fact that they're not doing that is kind of testament to the fact that they're just wanting to sit back and play for a longer game?
Yes, actually. I think both teams want to go for longer games, like, as you can tell by positioning. Poike is at the pillar, Cubsy's across the map. I think it's just going to come down to whichever team has more mana in the end, because I don't think they're going to force CC goes playing these two comps when there are so many stops on both sides.
Yeah, fair enough. Cubsy pushing in a little bit, going for a bash play. Mage be made punished. Minpoike didn't actually go for the mighty bash play there. It looked like he leaped in, ultimately to no avail. Cubsy once again sitting back. Both these teams, honestly, they have so much respect for each other in the early game. Neither really willing to commit. Chanimal now, you can see that his Infernal cooldown has just come back up, so he's going to have his second Infernal available soon. Presumably he's running the Vision of Perfection, so he has a little bit less cooldown on that. I can double check that on the extension in a second here as he gets cycloned a little bit low in the Frozen Orb. Slight miscommunication on Team Prismatic, but ultimately the way Prismatic is playing this is not the way that you would expect from Rogue Mages typically. Normally you would see Minpoike at some point is going to cross the map, go for a bash, but clearly there's a little bit of fear installed in him from what Cloud9 did at the last time there was a live event when they just smashed everyone with this Mage Lock Druid, and quite rightfully so, because when they turn around with those Infernals, it can be one of the scariest prospects in the game. Chanimal taking a little bit of damage, but once again Cubsy in the backline, able to stabilize him, now pushing him for a Mighty Bash, maybe getting a bit of damage onto Acro.
I think they're just playing it very cautious because there is a very low chance that they got practice against the MOD. They're sitting back, Poike is not pushing in for the CC to crowd control of his team. I think if there's ever a point where he gets caught up in a bash, or possibly a Shadow Fury or an Infernal Stun, Poike could get punished extremely hard and fall behind in mana.
Yeah, actually, the smoke bomb play coming in there over onto Chanimal. They are starting to push in a little bit. Minpoike's mana has been a watching point. It's certainly something I'm looking at for, considering Cubsy's able to get drinks much easier. Chaos Bolt's coming in. The Santa hat on Chanimal. He's got a gift for Fried Kitty. Fried Kitty has no interest, though, right back behind the pillar. Line of sighting any potential Chaos Bolts. The Infernal is still available for Chanimal. Notice how he's holding on to that for a very long time. Again, most likely looking to pop it when Minpoike crosses the map. And, I mean, the mana really is something that we'll be watching in these longer games. Minpoike down to 50%, as you say, it is going to be a talking point as we now do finally approach dampening.
If you notice too, Acro, Pop, Vendetta, and Cubsy always does a great job at this. He's either using Vortex offensively during the Frozen Orb to get damage and pressure going, or he's using it defensively at prime times. Like right there, he used Vortex on the Vendetta. Acro wasn't able to connect. Chanimal just walked away during the Vortex, and no damage was taken, no cooldowns for Pop.
Yeah, we see the Fell Hunter once again over on Minpoike, or something you called out earlier. It's one of the big reasons why it's so much harder for Minpoike to get drinks. Meanwhile, Cubsy, look where he is. He's on the other side of the map, Fried Kitty, sitting at the opposite pillar, meaning that he will get full mana. And I feel like if this continues, it actually might be kind of tough for Prismatic to keep it going. Minpoike has done a fantastic job of his mana. He's always been one of the best European healers at kind of that defensive play, playing efficiently with his mana pool. And maybe it's just enough if he can survive on one mana pool to prolong the game. Chanimal has started to take a few more dents to his health pool as we do get those healing reduction numbers in here. Fried Kitty has honestly played the most defensive game I think I've seen out of any Mage so far today. He's been so far back. Wealthy Man even forced to blink in to even deny damage here, forcing him into a bad position. But Acrolaws is the one doing work. The Assassination Rogue with that Mortal Strike effect, just tunneling down Chanimal, denying Chaos Bolts, denying damage. And I mean, Cubsy has an infinite mana pool to some extent, but as healing gets reduced more and more, both for the Warlock and the Druid, it's looking like Team Prismatic just has this one in the bag.
It feels like Fried Kitty kind of has to push in to actually punish the drinks, maybe assert some pressure. Him sitting back doesn't seem to be working in this situation. I mean, Acro's just standing in the middle of the map, taking the most pressure from a Destruction Warlock and a Frost Mage. I don't think this is going to work because Cubs is just going to go for a reset. He's just going to drink again, while Poike can't drink because he has a Fell Hunter on him.
Yeah, we see the evasion coming in from Acrolaws, but Cubsy intelligently leaps behind him, gets the stun through that evasion. Very nicely done. Fear's now coming in. Slight overlap there with the Ironbark and the Feint, but not going to achieve too much. Cloak of Shadow still available for Acrolaws. The Infernals are available for Chanimal, but you know, 13% damage reduction. All these players are playing with 446 item level now, up from the Cups where I believe it was 430. So there is going to be a little bit of damage, a little bit more damage flying out as the healing reduction comes up. So we are expecting slightly quicker games than during the season, meaning that Destruction Warlocks, you know, whereas 40% might have been the number before, now 20, 30, and Chanimal can be really struggling. Full Ring of Frost connected. This is the first time Team Prismatic have really looked for big crowd control chains. Let's see what they can get done with it.
There's double coil. Vendetta also popped. I think he was looking for a sap off the Ring of Frost, but he got CC'd on. A really good job by Chanimals. He still has his blind. He's able to commit, but Cubsy also has his trinket. Thorns used by Cubsy. Acro's not phased. He's going to stay on Chanimals. Cheap shot on the Cubsy. Full polymorph on the Wealthy Man. And no follow-up CC there. Kick on the Chanimals, but this is looking really, really bad for Team Prismatic.
I think for Team Prismatic, though, they're just kind of playing the stalling game. That was the Infernal. Now Smoke Bomb comes in. Chanimal desperately trying to hold on to the Unending Resolve. A Frozen Orb is chucked out by Wealthy Man to deny Minpoike's drinks, but Minpoike actually did sit down for a little bit. He's back up to half. 20% dampening is going to be a tough point for Chanimal to contend with. Cubsy uses his trinket there, trades it out for the blind. Fair exchange, but the longer this game goes, you know, Fried Kitty does both his ice blocks. Acrolaw still has the Cloak of Shadows, and Chanimal is, I mean, he's being unrelentingly pursued in this situation. Wealthy Man's doing the best he can, throwing out the polymorphs, getting damage onto Acrolaw's. Minpoike's mana is falling behind once again. It's going to be a race against the clock. I'm not sure if Chanimal's healing is going to run out before Minpoike's mana does. That's really the win condition, and either side could lose this game.
I mean, Cubs is doing a really good job playing offensively with the Feral Affinity, something that we've seen from another North American Druid, Gorecki. Cubsy's also really good at that. Acro dipping dangerously low, full counter spell on the Minpoike. Maybe a Cloak of Shadows has to be traded. Feint up by Acro. He should be okay because Ironbark is still available. Full bash on Acro. Actually, there's Ironbark, and this is really scary right now. I mean, he might have to trade the Cloak. He actually prevents it by just topping him. Fried Kid stuck into Fear. I don't know. I feel like the Rogue Mage is actually favored in Dampling just because of Wound Poison. If this gets too far into Dampling, I swear they'll turn this around.
Yeah, it's such a race. Minpoike has about 20% mana left, but Acrolaws crucially still has that Cloak of Shadows. Of course, Cloak of Shadows makes you immune to magic damage, and guess what? There's quite a lot of that on the Wizards of Cloud9, so Chanimal and Wealthy Man will have to force that out before landing the kill. Fried Kitty caught up in a polymorph. Minpoike once again looking for drinks, but Wealthy Man is all over him. Now full Fear connects, potentially Sheeps to follow. Is Fried Kitty going to be able to deny? He's in position to do so. Well played by him. Counterspell though onto Minpoike, denying as Cubsy once again pushes in for that bash. Now crowd control is available though. You can see Minpoike leaping in. Cubsy expertly evades that, but now bashed. Full Ring of Frost to follow. No trinket available for 8 seconds. Chanimal's in trouble.
He doesn't. Blind's actually up in 2 seconds. He's just going to get the trinket from pressing blind, I believe. Shadow Fury on him in Minpoike, Sheep on a Fried Kitty. Wealthy Man is doing an incredible job CCing his counterpart, Fried Kitty. Fried Kitty is actually not able to assert the pressure, but it still seems like, as you can see, Minpoike is catching up in mana, even though Cubsy got the 2 drinks off earlier in the game. What's going to happen here is a full blind possibly coming up soon on the Cubsy, forcing trinket, and then if possible, they force a bash into a Ring of Frost or a polymorph, and they could end the game.
Yeah, I mean, potentially they could land that. Of course, Cubsy does have his trinket available, but they should easily force that with a blind later on. We've got the Maldix coming crashing in on Acrolaws right now, trying to get a bit of damage out onto him, but Chanimal really is the focal point here as another kidney shot connects. Acrolol looking over for that blind right now, unable to find it though as Cubsy once again sneaks into stealth, looking for a rake stun, but instead drinking, opting to drink here. Fried Kitty double blinks in, so an offensive play from Fried Kitty. They taste that kill is imminent, 38% dampening. The smoke bomb comes in, it's Mighty Bash onto Cubsy. Do they have any follow-up? Chanimal with a great Mortal Coil is most likely going to deny that, but is it going to be enough? 40% healing reduction, Cubsy's out of mana, Chanimal's in a lot of trouble.
Destruction Warlocks are terrible in the dampening. This is not looking good for Cloud9. Beautiful Cyclone and Channel try to revert the pressure. Now, Acro actually dipping dangerously low, just Wealthy Man alone. He might have to use a Cloak of Shadows here. Oh, don't be greedy. There's a counter spell on the Channel. It's really good on the triple Shadow Fury, potentially. Infernals does come out right there. And Cubsy still has his Trinket, Acro still has his Blind. I'm not really too sure why he's holding it, because if he gets the Trinket, he could punish that. We're really deep in the dampening, 1 CC chain, and it's over for Cloud9.
Yeah, Acrolol's actually traded out the Cloak of Shadows, and a cheeky little classical play of him, if you will. He used the first aid there as well, just to give himself a little bit of healing in these deep depths of dampening. But honestly, Cloud9, they've started to recover here. Cubsy got a big drink. North America looking good in this series. Acrolol, no Cloak of Shadows. Minpoike low on mana, and Chanimal somehow, some way, still hasn't any resolve. Acrolol's might just fall, uses the Vanish defensively to escape. I thought personally that Rogue was going to be a really tough target for a Mage and a Warlock to tunnel, but they might win this race. A beautiful Vortex from Cubsy denies the Shadow Step from Acrolol. Now Chanimal's going to have free reign, 45% dampening. There's no recovering from this.
And if they don't find a way to turn it around here, in exactly 1 minute, Chanimal is going to have his Dark Soul and his Infernals, and you can't pillar an Infernal. Once it's at the pillar and you're this deep in the dampening, it's extremely hard to heal through, especially with Minpoike's mana right now. Acro using Feint, no more Feint available, no Vanish, no Cloak of Shadows, Minpoike dipping dangerously low, no Skin, no Iron Bark. There's nothing. There's a bash on the Cubsy. He's going to try to go for a Hibernate, but Cubsy obviously shifting that. Wealthy Man stuck in a Polymorph. Shifted over to Cubsy, but I don't know if this is going to be enough to revert the pressure.
Yeah, they're going for the Maldic play. This is the all-in. Chanimal recognizes and respects. Very nice. Unending Resolve at high health. Now a counterspell over onto Minpoike. Acrolols cannot afford to be caught in midfield, so uses the Shadow Meld, but now he's caught up in the bash. And surely Cloud9 expertly chokehold, and they tap out Prismatic from Team Prismatic. Of course, I've got the move on either side of me. We've got a Rogue Shadow Priest in the arena. Things are looking pretty interesting here at the Summer Finals right now. We've got Acrolol and Villi. They're going to look to be big playmakers, and interestingly enough, Villi, it looks like, is he running a Cool Tyrann? Because I know that he's been playing Cool Tyrann in practice. I think he might be, and one of the reasons he's been using that is actually he's been going for the Cool Tyrann stun into Mind Bomb. So watch for kind of interesting crowd control chains like this. They go for an opener on Cubsy. They actually gets Bark Skin out, and I've seen Peekaboo kill Cubsy a couple of times in tournaments. Maybe that's something they're looking for, trying to bait the blind Trinket right now.
I don't think so. I think they're just going to stick to the DPS. There's a Trinket on the sap. He held it for the blind, just for the follow-up, just so Acro uses his time to get a restuff and then get the sap off after. Cubsy using Innervate fairly early. Minpoike is Innervate already on cooldown. There's an Iron Bark by Minpoike, Bark Skin by Cubsy. You actually may be correct. I mean, no Bark Skin, no Trinket by Cubsy. They could all win Cubsy right now.
Yeah, Acrolol's, let's see what he does here. This could be a crucial moment. 18 seconds on the Bark Skin. You can see a Vortex coming in from Cubsy, looking for the outplay. He's playing very aggressively, though, but he does get bashed. So he's on stun DR. He won't be an opening. Team Prismatic, maybe they were going for it, maybe they weren't. Either way, unable to find it. They have to respect Chanimal using that Infernal in the early game. It's such a devastating cooldown. If a couple of Chaos Sports land, it can be night out for any one of the members on Team Prismatic. Now, Triple Shadow Fury coming in. Honestly, this hasn't been a super prominent start from Team Prismatic. Sure, they got the Trinket with the blind, but in terms of health bars, Cloud9's sitting pretty.
I mean, they bashed Cubsy without a kidney shot on anybody, and then after that, they waited a couple of seconds and then threw out the silence. I mean, where's the setup? Where's the synergy there? It feels like they're underperforming currently. They just need to do their go at the same time. If they're not going to go on Cubsy, CC Cubsy when the kidney shot. Like right now, there's a full kidney, there's a smoke bomb. Really good play. I'm not sure if he has any hots on him. Villi right now should either be purging his hots or casting any instance he has available. A full clone on him. And Minpoike goes for a re-stealth and actually gets a bash on the Cubsy. Kick on the channel, maybe a follow-up Cyclone, but nothing to follow up. Silence actually really good by Villi, and Vendetta also committed.
Yeah, you can certainly see the Shadow Priest purges coming in clutch here. Compared to the Frost Mage Rogue, they have a lot more pressure on the Warlock in the early game. Now a full sap. Beautiful plays from Acrolol, who has Vendetta rolling. Chanimal's holding on to the Unending Resolve, but here it might be too little, too late.
So
DL Cyclone, so much damage. Shadow Ward death from Vilai is not enough, but a beautiful Cyclone. Once again, Minpoike all over the game on that Iron Bark. I'm not sure if they have any follow-up crowd control for Cubsy, though. Chanimal should be able to recover here, but it was such a close call.
I mean, Prismatic played that extremely well. Beautiful CC chain, and they got most of their cooldowns. The unending resolve. I mean, that's a huge cooldown. Inferno's coming up in 20 seconds. There's a kidney on the Chanimals. And one thing I'd like to note is that that's how you, I mean, you could clearly see the experience with Chanimals, especially in the land environment. He held the unending resolve until the very last second, knowing he would live.
Yeah, I mean, he did a really, really good job there. It almost, from my point of view, I was like, Chanimal, you might want to press that one. But ultimately, you know, he really knows his limits on the Warlock. He's been playing it basically the entire time he's been playing World of Warcraft. This guy known as a legend on that class. So Chanimal always going to push the limits, always going to make the opposition work for those cooldowns. And once again, he does survive. Now we see the Mind Bomb once again. Silence into Mind Bomb. The setup from Vilai. Is there any follow-up? It looks like Minpoike was looking for the Cyclone, but Wealthy Man was there to answer. He used one of his ice blocks in the exchange, but I think most likely he's going to be able to use those ice blocks freely. Chanimal is going to be the person they need to lock down. Now Vilai caught up in a stun, might have to use the dispersion. He's caught up in Fellfisher right now, and Fellfisher actually reduces all healing, including the healing from that dispersion. Now a Cyclone, there's no greater fate available. Vilai needs to be a bit careful here. Ironbark comes out.
I like the synergy they're having right now, actually. The full kidney into a bash and a Mind Bomb on top of that, so he's not able to dispel it. Chanimal was actually using the Dark Soul there. And he's one of the few Warlocks who actually splits his Dark Soul and his Infernals. He doesn't use them at the same time. He generally uses Infernals whenever he's in a dangerous situation, or if they're deep in a dampening and he knows he has a win condition. Both Innervates coming out by both of the Druids. Villain, no Disperse, not really a scary situation. He has Trinket and Life Swap. Akro actually caught into a stun right now. Cubsy going aggressive with the Feral Affinity. Full blind on the Cubsy, Trinket by Cubsy. And this doesn't actually seem too bad from Prismatic, even though they had a rough start in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, both teams are kind of stable right now. Mana, 70-ish% for both healers, so neither of them are really worrying as we do approach dampening in 30 seconds here. Akrolol's taking a bit of damage, but, you know, he's got the Cloak of Shadow, he's got the Vanish, so he's going to be just fine here, barring some sort of miracle. Cloud9, they have kind of stabilized in this one. Maybe they were thrown for a bit of a loop by the Shadow Priest pick, but they shouldn't have been, because Vilai is truly one of maybe the best Shadow Priest in Europe right now. So he has been someone known for this comp. They played it at Spring, took impressive series then. Now another Mind Bomb connects over onto Cubsy. Kidney shot on Chanimal. He trinkets out of that one. Akro actually went for the Vanish Sap off of that Mind Bomb and was unable to find it. So a little bit unlucky for Akro there. That Sap could have led to quite a devastating crowd control chain. He might have pulled the trigger on Vendetta if he'd landed it, but now Vanish, you know, was exchanged. That was also the Cloak of Shadows. Great crowd control from Cloud9, denying Akro from landing that, and he was a little bit late to the play. Now he doesn't have any defensive cooldowns.
He doesn't have any defensives, and also a thing you want to take note of is that his Vanisher's blind are on different cooldowns now. I mean, if he blinds Cubsy, Cubsy doesn't have to be afraid of the follow-up sap after the blind. I mean, he might even be able to hold his Trinket and then save it for a more dangerous time. Valet caught up into a Polymorph, trying to get the BT cast out. And a lot of times, if you ever see Valet locked out on his Shadow School, he's just going to sit there and spam the spell to try to rotate the pressure.
Yeah, certainly. That's one of the strong points of Shadow Priest that we've seen a bit of a resurgence as a bit of a counter pick. Is just because you can spam the Purges on the Discipline School as opposed to Shadow, so it's a little bit harder to stop a Shadow Priest from being useful. This is a big play from Akro, who's actually able to land the sap there off onto Cubsy. That's going to force on any resolve, and since dampening's starting to stack, on any resolve force at this point in the game is actually pretty big. Cubsy did exchange it for a drink, so once again, it's going to be similar to last game. Team Prismatic are behind on the mana pool, but Cloud9 are behind on the defensive cooldowns. It's going to be a race against time. Minpoike's caught up in mid-map in a full bash, not using the bark skin though. There's no offensive cooldowns created by Cloud9. Now a full blind onto Cubsy, and as you said, there's no sap to follow it. He sits through. Very nice read.
Yeah, exactly. And Chanimal's stuck in the kidney shot. Not a scary kidney shot at all. He has Iron Bark available if he has to, but there's no pressure going out. I believe Valet probably doesn't have too many dots out currently, considering he has to deal with 2 interrupts from Chanimal's and Wealthy Man. Full kick on a Valet. This isn't really a dangerous situation for either team currently, but it can go either way. Hopefully Akro waits to use his blind when he has Vanish. He's able to follow up with a sap, and also force a Trinket, Mind Bomb on the Cubsy, kidney on the Chanimals, maybe into a Fear. into a full sap, actually. Very well played by Acro.
Yeah, very nicely played by Acro. These guys have been on point with their crowd control chain, and this could be devastating. Full kick, followed up by a bash on Cubsy. There's no unending resolve. Cubsy does have Trinket, but he doesn't want to trade it out on small crowd controls. Mimpoike actually leaves the gap, enabling the Iron Box to come through. Potentially crucial mistake there by Mimpoike, leaving a gap in his own crowd control chain. Now Chaos Bolts coming out, trying to put out counter pressure. Cubsy stabilizes, doesn't have to use his Trinket. Chanimals is back up as well, so suddenly Cloud9 are in a pretty good spot. It's always interesting to me, you know, Chanimal, he's such a fun guy, you know, he's the scariest Warlock in the game, and yet he's playing an almost topless Dwarf with a Santa hat, so he really is such an interesting fellow. Now we see the stun on the Trinket. Mimpoike in trouble. We've seen this a few times. The Infernals come crashing in. Mimpoike does respect it though, trades out his cooldowns and survives.
Velae's locked on in Shadow. He's not necessarily out of there yet. He's still half HP, not able to top himself. Trades the Tranquility. Velae counterspelled again, so he's going to sit there and spam the spell, which you can see him doing right now. Mimpoike does recover. He has no cooldowns left, so he needs to watch his positioning. Velae does not have life swap. I mean, he does have life swap, but no Trinket to follow it up. So if they could somehow CC Velae and catch Mimpoike in his stun, he won't be able to do anything about it.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, Mimpoike he's running right now. He's on defense, and as the Restoration Druid, you want him to be playing aggressively. You want him to land those Mighty Bashes because they won't find kills without it. He still goes for the play. Great from Mimpoike. Happy to see him still confident in his offense, and that is something that Team Prismatic will need. We're at 21% dampening, healing reduction coming in for both sides. But Mimpoike, it's a similar story to game one. His mana bar, his blue bar, meaning he won't be able to heal much more because that bar is almost extinguished. 23% dampening. All three targets are kills potentially for Cloud9. There's no Cloak of Shadows on Acrol's either. Void Shift is available, but as their health bar starts to rot down, of course, life swapping isn't going to do as much. Cloud9, they're so close to winning this one. If Chanimal can keep rotating, he has the Unending Resolve back available. If he can use that well in this game, and he's going to use it now, they could definitely take this one and lead the series 2-0.
I feel like Team Prismatic is kind of forcing this go to get the Unending Resolve because they know they're very far behind. He sapped the Trinket. Chanimal's dipping dangerously low. Full silence on the Cubsy. But Acro's stuck into Polymorph and Poike is stuck into Fear. It's just Velae soloing Chanimals right now.
They're going to do it.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, dude, the sap on the Trinket from Acro, and outpick from both sides, to be honest. Prismatic, they got outpicked in game one, but still the Rogue Mage Druid, I think, has a better win percentage into Cloud9's Mage Lock Druid than the Shadow Priest Rogue Druid would into the Rogue Mage. So I think for Prismatic, locking in RMD blind is the smart play, and I think this is a matchup that they should be able to win. I think other Rogue Mage Druids here would be able to beat this Mage Lock Druid from Cloud9. If Prismatic can clean up, they had a really good game for about 90% of the last one, then they just kind of tripped at the finish line a little bit. Acro getting outplayed a bit by Cubsy. If that doesn't happen here, I could definitely see Team Prismatic taking the lead in this one.
Yeah, I was actually speaking to Raikou, the Mage of Method Black, and he actually told me himself that when he fights Cloud9's MLD, it's easy as that. They have to swap immediately, and I don't know, he was also saying something along the lines of beating them in mirrors, so I mean...
Raikou says a lot of things. That's one thing you learn. I don't know. I do agree though. Like, I mean, I saw some of their games and they were whitewashing the Mage Lock Druid. So I definitely think there's a reason that Cloud9 literally stopped playing this comp in North America, right? They started playing the Rogue Mage Druid themselves because M2KC was beating them, Colo was beating them on Rogue, you guys were beating them the move as well. A lot of Assassination Rogues were causing issues for Chanimal and the Warlock, and hence Snuts became the MVP for Cloud9. He brought out his Assassination Rogue, looked great on it, then their Rogue Mage Druid started to take control. But here, clearly, Team Prismatic, you know, this is one of the ways Europe is disadvantaged, right? We don't have a Mage Lock Druid of the caliber of Cloud9 to practice against, meaning that Team Prismatic, when they are thrown this composition and saying, hey, we're back with the same thing we won spring, it's looking pretty good for them as they get Mimpoike low once again.
I don't know if you just saw that, but I think Wealthy Man actually just offensive ice blocked right on top of their team. And then Prismatic runs behind the pillar knowing that they got ice block. I wonder if they want to make Wealthy Man a target, possibly. Dark Soul popped by Chanimals, but he gets corroded on it. Iron Bark by Poike, Vendetta committed by Acro, and Iron Bark also traded by Cubsy. I don't think there's going to be any pressure as of right now, but I want to see if they actually do punish Wealthy Man for that offensive ice block. Yeah,
it certainly could be an option for them. They haven't really deviated too much from just attacking the Warlock so far, but I mean, Wealthy Man last game, he also used his ice block aggressively, or well, defensively once. Maybe there is an opportunity, you know, if they had a smoke bomb up, they don't on this occasion, but in another situation, maybe they could smoke bomb, go for a big play on Wealthy. He's running the Relentless. There could be that opportunity. Mimpoike, once again, needs to be a little bit careful. I believe he actually shadow melded that Chaos Bolt, so reducing incoming damage. Nicely played from him, because from Mimpoike, the game has been quite clear. You know, he's got to heal very efficiently. He won't be able to drink. You can see the Fell Hunter is sitting on him from Chanimal. Chanimal's someone that's going to have perfect pet micromanagement, so there's no real opportunities for Mimpoike, even if he goes for these entangling routes to get a drink, and because of that, he's playing so carefully with his mana. Still at 80% is pretty impressive 3 minutes into a game against Cloud9.
It feels like if they keep doing goes, I mean, Cubsy and Channels are just going to keep rotating. Right there's Cubsy's Iron Bark, and after that, in the very next go, he's going to press Infernal, so they have to run away. And as long as they keep rotating like this, they should be fine with Wealthy Man constantly sheeping, Polymorph on the Cubs, or counterspell on the Cubsy, Polymorph on the Wealthy Man. Full kitting the Channels, really good setup by Prismatic, but Mimpoike gets counterspelled, leaving Fried Kid the free cast, but he gets polymorphed on it. Really good plays by Wealthy Man.
Yeah, Wealthy Man has just been such a stellar performer. I know we've had this conversation of who's the best mage. A lot of names have come up, but in North America, certainly a lot of people were saying Wealthy Man. This guy has just been a superstar, and moreover, he's been playing with Cubsy for such a long time. I believe these guys actually represented Cloud9 back in 2015. I remember playing against them. Roasties was on the team back then, and they were also a top caliber Rogue Mage Druid back then. So these guys have been top of the game for a very, very long while. We see the Ring of Frost coming in, but Chanimal able to deny it, using the Mortal Coils once again, shutting down Prismatic, and this has been the story for Cloud9. They just kind of choke their opponents out of the match. Acrolol's unable to get uptime right now, being snared and slowed by Wealthy Man on that Frost Mage, and Chanimal has good distance. He's able to get out his damage, and it's very impressive the way that they play it, considering that no one else has really been able to replicate this.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just how good they are on their main classes. Wealthy Man's a Mage main, Chanimals and Cubsy are on their mains, and they're both, or all three are just incredibly insane at those classes. Full Blinded Cubsy gets a trinket out the way. Honestly, even though Mimpoike is a little bit behind in mana, in a sense, Prismatic is winning, because once again in Dampening, Rogue Mage has bigger cooldowns to force kills in Dampening, or Wound Poison, Blind, Vendetta, Smoke Bomb, Icy Veins. I mean, there's just so much that Cloud9 has to try to heal through, and it's not really possible when you get too far into Dampening.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, that is what Prismatic's playing for, right? If Mimpoike can keep his mana as high as he has been, then even if Cubsy has a 100% mana bar, Prismatic only needs to survive to play for that late game condition, or seemingly that's the case. Certainly in game one, it obviously ended up favoring Cloud9 regardless. Mimpoike actually went for a push there. He used his Mighty Bash, went for the Hibernate play, but I don't think Fried Kitty was quite there with the reversal to land the sheep when Cubsy shifted out. So once again, Prismatic getting shut down by Cloud9. Cloud9 have had such a good game. Even Thorns, they're using Thorns, you know, against mages normally you wouldn't be recommended to run that, but they know if he Kleptomanias, then he can use, let's say, Overgrowth or something and take value away from that Kleptomania. So Cubsy just so good at recognizing the situation, looking for another drink right now. Mimpoike is pushing across the map, but he gets caught up in a fear, presumably going to get stunned off that by Cubsy. Nicely played. Acrolol's taking a bit of damage, does want to hold on to that Cloak of Shadows, given it is his one immunity against this composition.
He should be fine without the Cloak. I mean, he has Iron Bark up still if he even has to press it. I don't think he has to. Cubsy doing an insanely good job with positioning. If you notice, Fried Kid and Poike are going to run around together a lot, try to basically essentially Mage Druid on Cubsy, as in cast Polymorph, Bash, and Clone at the same time. And Cubsy just going on the opposite side of the map saying, hey, I'm just going to go for a drink over here. You can chase me all you want. My Mage and my Log will peel for me and just kill you if you chase me.
Yeah, certainly. That's kind of what they're playing for. I mean, Cubsy he really understands the maximum limitations of Mage Lock Druid. He knows he can afford to be aggressive and then go for something. Akra actually going for a cheap shot with his Vanish there. It looked like he was going for a cheeky sap, maybe expecting Cubsy to go for a reself, but Cubsy read the play. Now that cheap shot leads to nothing, and once again, Cloud9, you know, that was a big cooldown. That's a Vanish. 2-minute cooldown can be used to sap off of a blind, now won't be available. Chanimal taking a bit of damage. Iron Bark forced out. Akra actually did a little side step towards Cubsy, baiting him that he was going to blind, forcing out that Iron Bark. So a nice little micro play from Akro. The Russian Rogue doing such a good job here on the international stage. Fierce coming out onto him, but ultimately Chanimal hasn't taken too much damage just yet. Dampening now at 10% though, and that's going to change.
I mean, even if he was going for the sap, shouldn't Fried Kitty be able to follow up on the cheap shot and be able to be in line of sight? I feel like their synergy's not really there right now. Vendetta being committed by Acro. Acro dipping dangerously low, actually. He has to press Feint, and he still has his Cloak of Shadows that he might have to trade. I mean, I don't think Feint's going to be enough there. He's caught in a half Death Coil. He's still dangerously low. I mean, Poike needs to try to top him. He doesn't have Iron Bark. He might have to press Cloak. There's a Cloak of Shadows. Thorns by Cubsy, forcing the Cloak of Shadows. Really good by Cubsy. Full Bastion to Acro. Fear on the Fried Kitty. And Acro seems to not be out of there yet.
Yeah, I'm actually really scared for Acrolos. He used the smoke bomb defensive. This is scary times. This is a potential swing match. If Cloud9 wins this, most likely the series is going to be theirs. They forced the Vanish. It was used defensively. Now the Cloak of Shadows is down. And one other thing to note about Acrolos, we talk about a lot of rogues running the Human Relentless. Acro is actually running a Night Elf for the extra sap potential, meaning that if he gets caught up in a stun, he has no way of breaking out of these stuns. It could be a game winner for Cloud9 at some point. You can see Infernal coming up in about 20 seconds for Chanimal. If he can land a good connection with a Chaos Bolt, that could be night out here in Game 3. We see Team Prismatic. They have been struggling. I agree with you. Their synergy hasn't really been on point. I don't think there's been a single time where Fried Kitty's landed a polymorph in this game. I think there was one Ring of Frost so far. Cubsy has always avoided crowd control, and if that keeps happening, Team Prismatic will lose this game.
I mean, Acro also committed a defensive blind instead of an offensive blind in order for Minpoke to get a drink, which is great. But I mean, where are their cooldowns to get offensive pressure now? What happens when they get into dampening? Because you could dampen all you want, but at some point you have to push in, and there's no blind to commit to that. Minpoke has no Iron Bark, so you're going to be scared. No Cloak of Shadows for 40 seconds. You're just going to have to sit there and do nothing for the entire time.
Yeah, this is the Infernal push here. If Chanimal is able to get anything out, it could be a game winner. These Chaos Balls could be scary. Now we see a Fear. There's no counter spell available because of that Fear. Kick was already used by Acro, but they are able to lock it down. Acro, I believe he used his Vanish there. Yes, he did. So he got the cheap shot, got the Grow into Kidney, denying Chanimal of his damage. He evasioned as well, presumably just to kind of try avoid a Mighty Bash from Cubsy or something along those lines. Cubsy, though, again, cheap shot, no follow-up. Completely fine to heal through this, looking for another re-stealth, looking for a stun on Acro, able to land that Mighty Bash now, and there is a Cloak of Shadows coming up here. Another stun, though, DR'd by Minpoke. Again, no follow-up from Fried Kitty, and Acrolos is the one taking the worst of the exchange.
This is looking terrible for Prismatic randomly, even though they should be winning in the dampening. Acro is using every Vanish just to get a cheap shot into Cubsy. I'm not sure if he's trying to get the saps off that or what's going on, but he's cheap shotting him when he's behind a pillar, and then nothing follows up. I mean, they're just wasting their Vanish goes when they could just be using it on blind to get Trinket. This Cloak of Shadows by Acro. Fear on Acro, just spam get to keep him in the frozen orb. Full kidney on Chanimals, Sheep on the Wealthy Man. And Vendetta also committed there too. I mean, he might have to trade Unending Resolve, but there's Iron Bark. He should be perfectly fine.
Yeah, he's certainly starting to take a little bit of damage though. You can see him dropping low, 30% dampening. They didn't force the Unending Resolve once again here, which is crucial. We saw in the last game that Chanimal holding onto his Unending Resolve was the game clincher for Cloud9. So if they can do that once again here, use it at the perfect time. It's actually very similar to game one. Now we see a bash onto Cubsy. Where's the follow-up? Cyclone coming in. Cyclone lands. Good job by Minpoke. They're starting to land the cross crowd control, but Fried Kitty is in a fear. Minpoke unable to find the Dispel. Now the Mortal Coil's coming in, meaning that there will be no follow-up once again onto Cubsy. No polymorph lands. They're doing such a good job of locking down Fried Kitty. Acrolos doesn't have his Cloak of Shadows. We see the Iron Bark coming in, but Minpoke is low on mana at 35% dampening. It's certainly looking in favor of Cloud9 unless Team Prismatic can recover, get a few good kidney shots off, and actually dent this Warlock.
I mean, there's a defensive blind once again on the Wealthy Man. The Wealthy Man, much smarter this time, actually not ice blocking, so he's not a target of choice in the dampening, because even deep in the dampening, a Frost Mage can die. Anything can die at this point in the game, or about by a Wealthy Man, I believe. Cubsy going offensive this deep in the dampening gets cheap shotted. Possibly some follow-up CC, but no, I believe Fried Kitty actually got counterspell on his polymorph. Chanimal still having the Unending Resolve. There's some Infernals. Still has Dark Soul also. This looks pretty good for Cloud9.
It certainly does look good for Cloud9. 40% dampening. This is around about where the game ended last time. There's no Cloak of Shadows, and there's no Acro lols. Cloud9 2-1 up.
Cloud9.
Yeah, I mean, Vilay is someone fantastic to have on your team. I can speak from personal experience. I played with him 2015. Actually, he was the one that saved us against Jamili's team. He played so well in the semi-final of BlizzCon back then, and he's been at BlizzCons ever since on different rosters. He played with Radapie a couple of years back. Now he's here with Minpoke, looking to lock in his spot once again, and he has been a superstar. Every time he's come in, you know, spring finals, summer finals, he's done well. So far, it's his Rogue Mage Druid that's let him down. We see Vilay once again going for an early play, and his crowd control in the last game was just exemplary. He always landed, you know, a cool Tyrann into a Mind Bomb, a Silence into a Mind Bomb. He's the one to watch here if Cloud9 aren't to just take this series 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, his setups are just beautiful, and he's very level-headed. Even if they were down 2 games right now and they didn't have a single win, he seems to always just play at the same pace, never worse, and he just has that land experience. I don't know. Shadow Fury on both Acro and Vilay. Chanimal's not really in trouble. They traded Innervate by Cubsy, but Minpoke still has his Innervate, stuck in a Bash, Fear into Acro. I think Valet seems to be the target this game.
Yeah, certainly he's going to be the one under pressure. He's doing a good job just kind of line of sighting here. Chanimal does have his offensive cooldowns up. This is the Infernals and the Dark Soul, so any Chaos Bolt would sting just a little bit for Team Prismatic, and they're going to respect that, avoid it. Now we see the silence into the Mind Bomb once again set up. Cubsy maybe used the Shadow Meld off camera there to avoid the Mind Bomb, or maybe Vilay wasn't quite able to land that one. Either way, Smoke Bomb respected with the Iron Bark. Chanimal should be able to recover here as Cloud9 press on in the game.
Yeah, I mean, the next go, if they do get into trouble, he could trade the Unending Resolve. Not that he has to, since Wealthy Man's doing an incredible job spam polymorphing whenever his teammates are in trouble. Valet locked out again, so he's most likely spamming this spell. Acro caught into a stun. Eats Chaos Bolt. Shouldn't be in that much trouble since he traded the Feint. And, yeah, I mean, until dampening, like I said, this matchup should not end anytime soon unless one of the teams mess up.
Yeah, certainly it's, I think the thing prior to dampening, it's kind of like the setup, right? Like, you can definitely go into dampening in good or bad stance, and one of the big things is going to be the mana pool on Mimpoike. Mimpoike actually getting caught up in a polymorph right now. Acrolaw's therefore trading out both the evasion and the Cloak of Shadows, maybe trying to avoid a stun from Cubsy. Another Silence Mind Bomb combo from Vilay, trying to get damage onto Chanimal, reverse the pressure a little bit, but Mimpoike has been caught up in crowd control for quite a while, now able to land the Mighty Bash. Good crowd control chain, using all the diminishing returns that are available to Team Prismatic here. Chanimal dropping low, Ironbark's able to sneak through once again though. Vilay actually quite far out of position, getting polymorphed. Good identification from Wealthy Man, reading the fact that there was no Dispel coming in and exploiting it.
I mean, pressure by Prismatic seems to be much higher this game. I think it's due to map pick. The last map they picked was Ashman's Fall, and that map is big enough for Cubsy to just do ring around the Rosie and just have Fried Kitty and the Rogue Acro chase him across the map. But here, there's nowhere Cubsy can run. I mean, Cubsy just has to eat the CC by the Shadow Priest as soon as it's up. He has to eat the Silence Mind Bomb, you know, and the Kidney. He has to sap on the Cubsy right there. Fear on the Acro. Kidney on the channel was actually maybe forcing out the Unending Resolve, but no pressure. I guess no dots out, but Valet actually gets counterspelled, so he's not able to apply pressure.
Yeah, I think Cubsy's been doing a really good job. Like, that was a blind sap. He recognizes that he can't just default trinket every single time there's a blind, because, I mean, Mind Bomb into Shadow Meld sap, for example, is another crowd control option. There's so many good ones for Prismatic, and therefore Cubsy, he's trading a little bit more for offensive cooldowns rather than trading for just, you know, blatantly for the blind, which we see a lot of Druids doing. So that was the Vendetta. He actually Shadow Melded the Mind Bomb there once again, so really nicely played. You can always time that, of course. You can Shadow Meld while silenced as well, so it's another way the Druids can avoid that crowd control chain. Ultimately, though, mana's still looking great from Mimpoike. They still have a lot of defensive cooldowns. I think that this game is still looking pretty decent for Prismatic. If they can dent the Warlock so much before dampening, dampening is going to be very scary for Chanimal.
I mean, dampening is the Lock's greatest fear. I mean, it's the reason why any Warlock team generally loses, and you never really see a Warlock die before dampening. It almost never happens. He still has Unending Resolve 4 minutes into the game. Feint by Acro. Acro not really a target as of right now, though. Gets a reself off, possibly looking for a sap on a Cubsy. Goes for a cheap shot instead. Garrote on the channels, maybe a Mind Bomb off that. Really good Mind Bomb. To a full silence, I believe, but he gets counterspelled, so he's not going to be able to follow up the Mind Bomb with a silence.
Yeah, they won't be able to land that on this occasion. Therefore, of course, Cubsy, Chanimal just recovering. I think both teams kind of sat down for a drink there. Cubsy, you can see, back up to full mana. Mimpoike still sitting around 80. So as dampening starts, neither team's really going to have too much trouble with their resources. Acrolaw's, this is actually a Maldek push. You can see he's dropping very low. Cloak of Shadows is available. He's trying to hold on to it. Uses the Battle Master. You can see the icon there on his frame. Vilay even throwing out heals, you know, shield, life, leap of faith. So many different buttons being used by that beautiful Kultira and Shadow Priest there. Vilay now caught up in crowd control. They're pushing again, but those fears might deny the Mind Bomb. They do manage to sneak it through, but Cubsy reads the situation, trades out the Ironbark preemptively, and once again keeps Cloud9 tip-topped off as we approach dampening.
I can't even imagine what Prismatic's comms were like at that point of time where Acro dipped so low. And I think he was around like 5%. He jumped off the ledge, and you can see Poike trying to get to him as he's getting spam sheathed and spam feared. Speaking of, so full CS on him in Poike, not really any CC followed up on that. Poike is just going to top Acro, but that was a really dangerous situation they were just in.
Yeah, we see the blind over onto Cubsy. He does trinket this one, so respecting the fact that his Warlock wasn't actually topped off there. He certainly wanted to make sure he got some heals just in case there was a long crowd control chain, and that's the thing with the Rogue and the Shadow Priest. If you don't trinket the blind, you could get caught up in a lot of, you know, micro CCs, maybe a stun, a silence, a DR Mind Bomb, saps. So you do have to always be very mindful. But now that cooldown's down, Cloud9 might have an exposed weakness with Chanimal. He does have the Unending Resolve. Wealthy Man actually uses an Ice Block there to break out of, I believe it was a Fear. Didn't quite get to see him. Mpoike leaped across the map, but Cubsy respected it, got away. Cubsy's been doing a good job in this match. And the strategy has actually changed for Cloud9. In the last game, they just tunneled down Villi and just made sure that he was constantly slowed and under attack. This game, they're just crowd controlling him. It's almost, they're playing it the same as they do against the Rogue Mage Druid. They're just tunneling Acrolols, CCing Villi, and it does seem to be hurting the offense from Team Prismatic.
I mean, Cloud9 is one of those teams that if you catch them off guard or you do a strat and then they do a strat back that doesn't work, they adapt incredibly fast. I mean, they learn in about like a game or two. You just give them one game, even halfway throughout a game, they change their strat completely if their original strat isn't working. I mean, that's just what they've always done. That's why they are so successful in terms of the NA teams.
Yeah, and I mean, it's working for them here. Certainly, I haven't really seen too many openings for Prismatic since they started just shutting down Villi. They recognized that this guy was kind of popping off, and they have no interest in that. They want to make sure they win this series, pull one back for North America here at the Summer Finals, and Acro's therefore changing his strat as well. He's going for a kill on Wealthy Man. Wealthy Man did use one of his Ice Blocks earlier in the game to keep Chanimal in it, and this is the second Ice Block. Do they have the Master Spell? Chanimal denying it with Fears. Very nicely done. That was a scary moment. Only 13% dampening, and Cubsy's still not able to top off his Mage.
Yeah, Wealthy Man, I think a little bit too cocky using offensive Ice Blocks against a rogue Shadow Priest there. Now he has none. But from my experience going into Frost Mage just early in the dampening, it's a bait. He's not going to die right now. Possibly 30-40% in the dampening he'll die. But Ice Barrier is a pretty strong spell.
It's a strong spell, but it does have a dispel for Villi as well, right? Like, I don't know. I think they should keep going on Chanimal. I think they will get baited if they attack Wealthy too much, but now that he has no Ice Blocks, suddenly he has to be a bit more careful, right? So it was definitely a good push. It was actually a nice Ursul's Vortex from Mpoike, sucking him out of line of sight as well. So really nice play, and they do have the Smoke Bomb coming up in about 20 seconds. So certainly Prismatic, if they do want to go for a Mage kill, they could do so. Blind on Cubsy, he's not going to Trinket out of that one. Once again, Villi, look at the crowd control. He's not playing Relentless. He has to play Trinket for his Void Shift, or at least that's what he feels like, meaning that he is just sitting through a ton of crowd control at the hands of Cloud9. Acro taking a bit of damage here. Mpoike should be able to easily heal through that. Where's the kill? That's what we're looking for. It's once again Kidney Shot over onto Chanimal, but Acro dropping so low. He does have the Cloak of Shadows. Is he going to survive the stun? Uses the Battle Master, gets Cyclone low. Cubsy all over the place.
That was a beautiful Cyclone low. If he could follow up another Cyclone, there it is. He still has the Cloak of Shadows, which he might actually have to commit because the Ironbark fell. Poly on the Villi not able to use the life swap there if he has to. I'm pretty sure he has to trade out the Cloak. There it is. He still has Feint after the Cloak and Vanish coming up in 4 seconds. No blind though. Smoke Bomb on the Wealthy Man. Wealthy Man maybe caught into the Kinney. Wow, beautiful CC by Chanimal, stopping that go actually. Orb on Acro. They're both just going full sap off the mud. Wow, he saps his Trinket actually. Garrote on the Wealthy Man. Wealthy Man could go down here if he follows with more saps. Kicks on the Wealthy Man. Bash on the Cubsy. Does he go down? Just a little bit more damage. Shadow Word Death. You can hear Villi screaming in the back. Dark Soul by Chanimal. Chanimal's doing the best he can to possibly kill this, but Wealthy Man's in so much trouble.
Yeah, but Acro as well. Acro is actually getting caught up in the Chaos Bots. Doesn't have the Cloak of Shadows. I cannot believe the Wealthy Man is alive now. That was so incredible. Acro lols once again. Child's play against Cubsy. The double sap on the Trinket 2 times in this series. But Wealthy Man slithers away. He's able to barely stay alive in this one. And because of that, that was the all-in from Prismatic. Cubsy doesn't have his Trinket for the blind though. 20 seconds on that. That could be a big opening. 30% dampening. Cloud9 match point. If they win this one, they will advance to play against Method Black. Acrolor's Cloak of Shadows is not up for a very long time here, Jelly. He's still in a lot of trouble.
I mean, I think they have to get the kill on Wealthy Man in 1 minute. I mean, the Ice Block and Cold Snap is coming up. Wow.
There we go.
Wow.
Ends up falling, and Cloud9 have done it. They've beaten the European squad.